27 years South Carolina's been in the SEC. And Deebo Samuel off the carom fields it at the 10-yard line. Samuel through the middle of the field. Even when they don't kick to him, he makes something happen. 3 career touchdowns, make it 4. Deebo, touchdown. Eric Douglas was the up-back, an offensive lineman that was unable to field that. It caroms off of him to Samuel. He takes it to the house.
It's almost like the timing was immediately skewed on that return. And the coverage team, I think, kind of let off the gas when they saw Douglas incapable of fielding that football, and just enough for Samuel to find his way up. You can see why he is such an electric playmaker, and why defensive coordinator Wesley McGriff was talking about, we have to make sure that we defend number 1. They didn't do it on special teams.
And I have a correction to make, Matt. Jake Bentley will not get the football.
No, not yet, anyway, that's for sure. What a way to start fast for a team who hasn't all season.
Parker White, and his extra point is good. A flag does come in.
Offside, defense, penalties decline, the try is good.
You could see how that carom was just enough. I think the coverage team just kind of came off the gas, didn't think that Deebo could just pick it up cleanly off the turf and then make a break up field, but he was able to do just that. And we've seen this man do it time and time again for a team and an offense that has struggled to start games quickly. There is no better way to do it, to get a fantastic kick return, to give you great field position, and even better, take it all the way to the house.
90 yards for the senior from Inman, South Carolina. Now responsible for 23 touchdowns, 10 receiving, 7 rushing, 4 kick returns. He's thrown 2 touchdowns to his buddy Brian Edwards. Gets congratulated by Jake Bentley and now Bobby Bentley over there on the sideline. Wesley McGriff, the defensive coordinator for Ole Miss, said number 1's the most dangerous man in the house today. And he does it on the first play. Will Tommy, the kickoff specialist for the Gamecocks, left-footed, kicks to Elijah Moore. And Moore fields it just outside the 5. And he is wrapped up near the 27-yard line. So it's Jordan Ta'amu that's the first quarterback on the field today. What a terrific season he's had.
He's just so remarkably accurate. And when you talk with offensive coordinator Phil Longo, who has liked Ta'amu ever since last season, when he took over for Shea Patterson versus Arkansas, he plays within himself. He understands what limitations he does have, and there aren't many. And because of that, he goes where he needs to go with the football, protects it, while still being explosive in this offense.
What a heck of a tailback, too, and Scotty Phillips, who has 9 rushing touchdowns. And this is Scotty, and he is past the 30-yard line as another flag comes in.
Holding, number 50, offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
It's on the center, Sean Rawlings. Ta'amu leads the SEC. Top 5 in the country in passing yards from down the street from where Tua Tagovailoa is from in the great state of Hawaii by way of New Mexico Military Institute. The starting quarterback when Shea Patterson became hurt last year. Patterson transfers to Michigan, and Ta'amu setting all sorts of records this season. Try Phillips again, and he gets free past the 30, first down run, and he's tripped up by Steven Montack near the 45.
We talked about Scotty Phillips and how explosive he can be. This is not just a passing offense, and Scotty Phillips has made it that. One of their goals in the offseason, to be more physical and get the ground game going. Number 22 has enabled the offense to be that way.
Still quick, a little swing pass 50-yard line to Elijah Moore, Chris Button.
Well, Ta'amu from Hawaii, as you said, you think this is an early kick? It's 6 a.m. back in Pearl City. So this is how they do it. They get their cup of coffee, they get in the car, and they go to McDonald's. They pick up eggs, rice, and a side of Spam.
It's real. It really does happen. Past the 45-yard line to A.J. Brown. Outside of Hawaii, I think the only person that covets that kind of meal is Matt Stinchcomb.
It's not geographically specific to enjoy Spam. You can be on the continental
No
United
matter
States.
where?
Absolutely anywhere, buddy.
Fair enough.
That reception to A.J. Brown on the outside typically lines up in the slot ever since DK Metcalf has been out of the lineup. We'll see number 1 out wide more often.
Fake to Phillips. Ta'amu keeps it himself and is on his feet past the 35-yard line. As a couple of Gamecocks just letting him run around there. Jam Williams tackles him. First down, Ole Miss.
Carried the ball 19 times last time out versus Auburn. A very capable runner is Tom.
Heck, it's 2nd and 1. And straight ahead, that's Phillips for the first down.
You see racking up quick first downs. And one of the things that they want to do, stay out of 3rd and long altogether. This is the best first down offense in the country, averaging 8+ yards.
Fake to Phillips, Ta'amu again. And just patiently waits and gets near the 20-yard line as Rashad Fenton pushes him out. It's another Ole Miss first down. Sherrod Green unable to make the tackle there.
Last week, Bryson Allen Williams was able to chase down the ball carrier from behind. They are crashing, and each time, Ta'amu's pulling the ball on the edge.
Fake to Phillips. One-on-one, end zone, incomplete. 2nd down, looking for DeMarcus Lodge.
They're nearing the area of the field where they started to have difficulty a week ago versus Auburn. As you see there at the end of the play, DeMarcus Lodge, who is going to become more and more prominent in the red zone and red area offense, knowing that they don't have the big target out wide in number 14. You still have A.J. Brown, and then you have the speed of DeMarcus Lodge outside. Last game, 7 trips into the Auburn territory inside the 20, only 16 points for the Ole Miss offense. They have to be more proficient when they get into scoring position.
Phillips, the junior from Ellisville, Mississippi, transfer from Jones County Junior College, in the backfield on the 2nd down play. Underneath throws a good one for the first down to Moore. It's 1st and goal, Rebels.
This time a great job picking up the edge blitzer. It was Dawson Knox, still a rusher right in the face of Ta'amu, knew exactly where he wanted to go, with Elijah Moore filling A.J. Brown's position in the slot.
Ta'amu doesn't have anything and just throws it away. Pressure by DJ Wanham as a flag comes in.
Trying to run play action there in the red zone. And that time very well defended.
The quarterback was throwing the ball away out of bounds. There is no foul for ineligible downfield. 2nd down.
DJ Wanham, Matt, coming back last week after that injury in the Coastal Carolina game, trying to jump to avoid a cut block from an offensive lineman. He did some ligament damage to his knee, missed 5 games, 2 sacks against the Vols last week in his return.
Definitely changes the complexion of the defensive front for South Carolina.
The hand to Phillips. And he's banged down inside the 9. How so with Wanham out there on the field?
Well, it gives you another big body, number 1, because what was happening is South Carolina was having to borrow Keir Thomas from inside and slide him outside, so they had more size on the edges. Offenses were attacking the edge of that South Carolina defensive front with Wanham back. They put size back inside, and they don't forfeit the ability to set the edges in the run game at defensive end or outside linebacker.
Had the pressure on the first down play. Now here's a 3rd down. A bullet, but unable to make the catch is Dawson Knox. It'll be 4th down.
It's the 3rd downs, the 3rd down passing scenarios that Ole Miss wanted to stay out of. South Carolina, not a heavy pressure team. But when you get them in the red zone and on these 3rd downs, they're going to start bringing more pressure, and Ole Miss does not hold up very well in protection. That was the issue a game ago versus Auburn. The reads weren't clean for Ta'amu, and they're able to deny the end zone here.
Here's Luke Logan, fourth in the SEC in scoring from 25 yards away. And Ole Miss is on the board. Will they kick it to Debo this time? This is the 55th time that Will Muschamp has been a head coach in an SEC game, and it's the first time ever he's coached against the Ole Miss Rebels. How about that? 4 years at Florida, 3 at South Carolina. You see the record there. His wife went to school here, so he's excited to be back in a place that his family loves against a man, Matt Luke, that he tried to persuade to come join his staff 2 years ago. Muschamp searching for his 5th win of the season.
And obviously had that one game forfeited. Marshall, Thundering Herd, they were incapable of getting that game played. They're going to get another one added on the back end versus Akron on December 1st.
It was just announced yesterday. This is over Debo's head, and South Carolina will come out on the field on offense with Jake Bentley at quarterback. We showed in the open all the adversity that he's overcome this year, especially impressive last week, Stinch, in the second half.
Well, he's just so opportunistic, and the guy is just a great competitor. And meeting with the Ole Miss defenders yesterday, Momo Sanogo was talking about how he's just such a great competitor, a guy that pushes hard. Is he going to wow you with his arm or his legs? He's not, but he's plenty good enough in both of those areas. And when he is on, he is among the better quarterbacks in the conference.
They started the game with Tyson Williams last week. They do it again, and a little pass out near the edge for a few yards. That'll set up a second down. It's Casey Crosby, of course, who had the fractured finger, the surgery that he had in the middle of the season. Second and long. Gamecocks will go quick, empty backfield. Another quick throw right near the sticks to the 35, make it the 36-yard line to Crosby. So two quick throws to the tight end. They've struggled to find their tight ends this year. Hurst caught 44 passes last year. Hayden Hurst, that was drafted in the first round. The entire team has 20 to their tight ends this season. Now Bentley will take off. And no real effects from that knee injury suffered against Kentucky. Nice run.
He pulled it a couple of times, 4 different rushes for 20 yards last week versus Tennessee. Kept the defense honest, and this time, not a QB draw, just a scramble. Saw the opportunity and took it.
This is Williams, first down Gamecocks. Rico Dowdle, 14 carries for 140 yards, but Williams started that game, and again, Muschamp goes with him at the beginning of this one.
Williams has got some nice bursts too, although Dowdle was the most productive a week ago.
Fake to Williams, over the top, incomplete. Looking for Chavis Dawkins.
That time just too high. But you can see starting this football game after running it well versus Tennessee, and they got run looks repeatedly from the Tennessee defense, throwing it early on. Only 1 carry, and then that 1 RPO. You're able to pull it from the belly of the running back and see if you can take a shot. Just too much on it for Dawkins to rein it in. Otherwise, he's running in green grass for a big game.
From the Rebel defense, and Williams for a couple. It'll be 3rd and long after a pickup of 2. Mohamed Sanogo, who last week had 16 tackles, a career high for him, and that's the most any Rebels had in 11 years in their loss to Auburn in their last game.
Unquestionably the most active and productive defender for Ole Miss. They need other guys to step up, but this has been the key. They wanted to slow down the run game. You've only seen a couple of handoffs. Both of them are now setting up a 3rd and long.
Bubble pass. Williams makes a man miss. First down Gamecocks inside the 30, off to the races, inside the 10, and pushed out inside the 5. It'll be 1st and goal inside the 2. Zedrick Woods saves a touchdown there.
Really well blocked outside. Malik Young in there in relief for Dennis Daly, who was injured last week versus Tennessee. Played very, very well. Nice block out in space to Spring Williams. Williams, an excellent receiver out of the backfield.
Williams, straight ahead, touchdown Gamecocks. Followed Zach Bailey and Donnell Stanley in front of him, and the Gamecocks with an early double-digit lead.
Zach Bailey probably played his best game this season versus Tennessee a week ago. Physical, able to get enough push to get the Gamecocks into the end zone on a 3rd and long, an incredibly well-executed screen pass, just enough to get into a scoring opportunity, and they punch it in once again.
And the extra point from Parker White is good. A 50-yard swing pass to Tyson Williams. Sets it up for him on the ground. Gamecocks up early.
Welcome back to Ole Miss. South Carolina leads at 14-3. Will Muschamp told me this morning the biggest key for his team was getting off to a fast start. They've struggled with this all season. He couldn't quite put his finger on why they had started out slow. So the two things they wanted to do, start with some tempo and really just amp the guys up. So on their 45-minute bus ride down here, they blared the music, trying to get these guys amped up. Seems to work so far.
Yeah, we were talking to Todd Ellis, the voice of the Gamecocks on the radio, of course, one of the best quarterbacks in school history, and he said it was loud. People were going crazy on that bus.
And it makes sense when you think about it, because this is an early kick. It's an early kick for everybody, and you're a slow starting team. You got to get those juices flowing quickly.
It's Elijah Moore from the 2. He runs into Gamecocks at the 20, is ahead to the 24. Coming up next, more college football. Missouri and number 11 Florida at the Swamp at 4 Eastern. Then it's Louisiana Tech taking on number 18 Mississippi State at 7:30 on our SEC Saturday night matchup presented by Holiday Inn Express. The SEC Network alternate channel has the Charlotte 49ers in Tennessee at 4. To find that channel in your area, go to secnetwork.com/channel. All games are streaming live on the ESPN app. I'm especially interested to see how Mizzou bounces back today after crushing loss. They have not won a conference game yet this year. One against South Carolina about a month ago. Fake and then a throw across the middle, just a flip to Moore, and that's a first down. Ta'amu is in rhythm in this offense this year.
You know, he sees it really well. That's one of the challenges for South Carolina defensively, is to change the picture and muddy the reads.
Fake to Phillips, and it's A.J. Brown out of bounds for 7, maybe 8 yards.
The other piece of it, too, is the quick throws to A.J. Brown outside. You let him catch it, and then he turns into a running back. Phenomenal after the catch in producing yards is A.J. Brown.
Brown's one of the best in school history. Ta'amu finds him again, and he's inside the 40, down inside the 35-yard line as Fenton knocks him out of bounds. And the Rebels are quickly marching down the field.
Well, that time came all the way across the formation. Fenton on A.J. Brown the whole time. Had to deviate because of the umpire. Ta'amu able to find him.
23 yards on the last play. End zone this time. Brown, looked like there was some contact back down there, but there comes the flag.
It's late, but it's right. You know, Fenton was in coverage again and ended up kind of grabbing Brown around the waist and slingshot himself ahead to try to make a play on this ball.
Mark Curlis, today's referee.
Pass interference, number 8, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
Called number 8, but for sure it was on Rashad Fenton. He was among the SEC leaders in interceptions with 3 coming into this game. And you can see they're going to challenge him. A.J. Brown, we asked who are among the fastest players on this offense. Ta'amu said DeMarcus Lodge. A.J. Brown would argue that. Big body that can move.
Ta'amu takes off straight ahead inside the 10. Tackled by Kobe Smith after a 9-yard gain.
It's just so dangerous to ever turn your eyes away from the line of scrimmage when Jordan Ta'amu is in the backfield. Even were they to empty that backfield, no running backs, it doesn't matter. Every time Ta'amu's in the game and has the ball in his hands, he is a run risk. And especially in the red zone, that QB draw game starts becoming more prominent.
Second and short. Flag came down in the South Carolina
There is
secondary.
no foul. There are only 11 players on the defense. Second down.
Confusion from one of the officials that thought they counted 12, but were overruled.
Some unique, somewhat unique anyway, orbit motion from Ole Miss there. Had two tight ends in the formation.
Second and a long one for Ta'amu, now in the top 10 for most passing yards in a season, past Stuart Patridge, but he leaves the backfield, and now this is Phillips in a long-looking Wildcat formation, and he'll call timeout. He was 8 yards behind the center there.
Yeah, it was almost like Phillips wasn't prepared for them to motion to the Wildcat formation.
Including the William Faulkner historic sites. This is a 2nd and 1. Ta'amu back at quarterback, and the quick throw out there and slipping at the 10 and regaining his footing is Moore. And a little skirmish breaking out.
They may have lost yardage here. I don't know if Moore didn't go down as he was trying to cut back underneath the block of A.J. Brown. I don't think so. I think it was just feet and hands on that one. Kept his footing, was able to regain it. Regardless, didn't get the yardage needed to convert. You can see now Ole Miss trying to jump and get lined up quickly to rattle this snap off. A.J. Brown right here.
Ball start. Number 1, offense. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Let me just tell you, this is my theory, and I think it always holds true. You see a receiver jump off sides, it isn't because he's a decoy. It's not because he's going down to block. He is the primary receiver on that play. So you've got a 3rd and short. You're in the red zone. You're without DK Metcalf. You're coming off a game where you struggled. You better believe that ball was going to A.J. Brown.
You would think Ta'amu would look his way on a 3rd and 7. So Gamecocks put 7 in the box. Instead, he goes the other direction, and it's incomplete to Phillips. Will they call it a lateral? They say live football. That's DJ Wanham that gets it, and the Gamecocks recover the fumble.
They were trying to swing it out there and get it to Scotty Phillips with 3 receivers out in front of him. That is a hard angle to say otherwise. You look where Ta'amu is, and the fact that Phillips was already going upfield and tried to make that catch behind him. He was eager to try to catch it, but get upfield quickly and ruled a backwards pass a turnover. And we talked about Ta'amu protects the football well. That time they're saying the trajectory of the pass was upfield and therefore backwards. Only the 3rd lost fumble on the season for Ole Miss.
Tyson Williams, who gets up to the 23-yard line, so they do not come up here and take a longer look at that lateral. And it's the 3rd fumble for Ole Miss on the season.
I don't know that there was a good enough angle down the line to determine otherwise.
Right, that one we saw was inconclusive. 5-yard gain for Williams. Plenty of time for Bentley. And this is Williams already with a 50-yard reception out of the backfield, and he's into Ole Miss territory. And a late flag comes in on what might be a personal foul as Williams is writhing in pain.
Personal foul. Targeted with the crown of the helmet. Number 3, defense. The play is under further review.
So Vernon Dasher goes to, you see the helmet-to-helmet contact there, Matt.
Leading with the crown. I mean, you see this right here. there's no doubt Vernon Dasher ducks his head. Part of that rule, it's not just the guy getting hit, it's the guy doing the hitting. You say it all the time, it starts in rec ball. You got to see what you hit. This is to protect both players involved. And Vernon Dasher, there's no doubt, lowered his head and struck with the crown of his helmet. Tyson Williams was headed out of bounds. And as you mentioned, plenty of time for Bentley. Excellent protection.
After further review, there is no foul for targeting.
All right.
Result of the play is a first down.
All right.
Look at the entire play against Inch with all this time, and then the safety valve to Williams on what was a 24-yard catch, and you see that hit at the end from Dasher, so he gets to stay in the game, and the Gamecocks will have it at the Ole Miss 47. Williams is that's Rico Dowdle's first carry, and Dowdle is hit in the backfield. Benito Jones on the tackle for loss. It'll be second down. Here's Deebo Samuel coming back into the game. Maddie went into the tent momentarily on what was the first offensive possession, and now you see Rico Dowdle injured on the play, a play after Tyson Williams went down for the Gamecocks. Rico Dowdle, the junior from Asheville, 140 yards rushing last week. In pain on the field right now for the Gamecocks after the last play.
He was not moving for a time there, so good to see Rico get up, period, although putting next to no weight. Looks like on his right leg, his left leg rather.
Broke his leg last year and missed 5 games. He was injured 2 years ago too. He's never been able to finish a season. You hate that each year he has something happen to him.
Benito Jones with the excellent penetration. His left ankle looks like his foot was in the turf, in this grass. It's a natural surface. It just went down really awkwardly, rolled that ankle, it looked like, on his left leg.
So Tyson Williams went out 2 plays ago, and A.J. Turner, who's been banged up this season, he's in the game, and on an end around to Deebo Samuel, he's to the 45-yard line on what will be considered a pass. He went out on that first drive, Chris.
Yeah, and he spent nearly the entire last series in the medical tent. When he came over, he was hunched over on the sidelines in some obvious discomfort, sipping on a juice packet, and he was in a lot of pain until he just ran out there. They almost held him back for an extra play.
Clearly okay when you put him in a position like that. So now a third down for the Gamecocks on a 3rd and 8. Similar position, they had a 50-yard reception. And Bentley wants to take the long strike to Shi Smith inside the 10.
Brian Edwards, Deebo Samuel. Everybody knows about them in the passing game for South Carolina, but Shi Smith is demanding attention. He is lethal in the slot, that time with a single high safety, 1 safety deep. Ole Miss sought to bring pressure. It's hard for that center field safety to come over and help. On that route, you break outside, it's a slot fade, and it is difficult for those safeties to provide any help over the top.
Turner up off his feet near the 5. 2nd and goal as Cedric Woods was the first to him. An injured Rebel.
Turner was elevated for some time. He was carried for another 2 or 3 yards, it looked like, as he was kind of riding the wave of would-be tacklers.
When we check, we'll check on the injured. Busy day, Dari, in the SEC. We've got Georgia, Kentucky, of course, at 3:30. Alabama, LSU tonight at 8 o'clock. Games that we're so interested in the Southeastern Conference. Here the Gamecocks off to a quick start. Deebo Samuel, the 90-yard kick return for a touchdown on the first play of the game. Tyson Williams had a 50-yard reception that set the Gamecocks up for their second touchdown. And a couple of injuries to deal with for South Carolina. And now for Ole Miss, Jalen Julius, the junior from Winter Garden, Florida, being tended to on the field.
See Jalen Julius able to sit up. They're counting on him. This has been an injury-riddled secondary for Ole Miss. An element that they thought could have been a strength coming into the season. They had veteran players. They've lost nearly all of them. 3 would-be starters. And so you've seen other players step up. They've moved running backs to kind of shore up the defensive back ranks.
So Julius out of the game, will be replaced by the senior from Decatur, Georgia, Ken Webster. Of course, had that gruesome injury against Florida State to start the season in 2016. He's had his own injuries to deal with. Fake the Turner, and Bentley just throws it into the stands.
Didn't have it that time. He had Samuel coming through the backfield and did not pull the secondary much. Usually you'll see an adjustment where they'll try to roll to that fly sweep motion, especially because South Carolina likes that tap pass. Haven't seen it in the red zone. That time really did not adjust the defense. Bentley wisely threw it away to play again for 3rd down.
So now the big back, Mon Denson, gets the carry inside the 5 and tackled at the 2.
The Rebel defense forcing the field goal attempt, huge considering the start that they've had to this game. Mon Denson met by the leading tackler for the Ole Miss Rebels, Momo Sanogo, and then the rest of the defense rallied.
Parker White from 20 yards to make it a 14-point lead. Parker's had a great sophomore year, and it continues as South Carolina's up 17-3 to the studio in Dari Nowkhah. Both of these games are hard to figure, right? Coming into today, it was an even line between these two, the Gamecocks and Ole Miss. And that one too, A&M and Auburn, both with 3 losses. I was surprised by A&M in Starkville.
I was too. I'm with you, man. I felt as if A&M was a team on the rise, that they would have an opportunity to get healthy. They were banged up when they faced South Carolina, and they were able to squeak out a win. But you thought that at least up front along their offensive line, they'd get healthy and play better. They didn't. That Mississippi State defense is for real.
So different at home. Their quarterback, Nick Fitzgerald, compared to what we've seen a few times on the road. They're in prime time tonight on SEC Network. Dave, DJ, and Don there in Stark Vegas for Skip Holtz and Louisiana Tech, who themselves are having a nice year. Will Tommy kicks it deep to Elijah Moore, and a fair catch will be made, and it'll give Ole Miss the football at the 25.
Regulation size.
Go route. Footwear aisle. Height.
Jordan Ta'amu and Ole Miss trailing by 14 points here at Vaught Hemingway Stadium in a beautiful November day in Oxford. Ta'amu 7 of 10 for 69 yards passing, but limited to a field goal and then a turnover deep in South Carolina territory. Picking up yardage has not been an issue, as DeMarcus Lodge will get 6 more. But ending up with 3 or 7 points has been a problem.
It continues to be the red zone, high red area where this Rebel offense tends to stagnate.
Phillips with the fake, and Ta'amu keeping. And it'll be 3rd down.
That time played differently. South Carolina. We saw earlier Bryson Allen Williams was crashing hard on Chase, trying to tackle what the would-be handoff would have been. Ta'amu gained yards twice that time on his 3rd pull of the game, tackled for negligible gain.
Damani Stanley was there, and Ta'amu takes off again. 1st down, Ole Miss. Flag comes in as he slides underneath the would-be tackler there, R.J. Roderick.
Holding number 50 offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay 3rd down.
It's twice now that they've gotten Sean Rawlings for holding. Earlier, it was versus Javon Kinlaw. This time, look right in the middle of your screen, number 50. They're saying, as I guess he was trying to disengage, was Rick Sandage. I didn't see much of a hold there, frankly. I am biased, of course, former O-line guy, but it didn't look like Sandage was trying to disengage. I didn't see a whole lot of jersey tugging. Regardless, 20 yards and penalties on the veteran center.
3rd and a mile. Ta'amu under pressure, on the run, throws a strike for a 1st down to Octavius Cooling. How about that throw?
Almost wondered if they just hand it off right here, knowing that 3rd down was a concern. Bryson Allen Williams came looping in cleanly, and Ta'amu just calmly demonstrating that poise. That's the attribute that Phil Longo points out, and is able to throw a strike to Cooling.
Very quickly, it's Elijah Moore into the Gamecock secondary and into their territory at the 40-yard line for 23 more yards.
Ta'amu does such a great job of feeling where the pressure is going to be coming from. That time, slot pressure from the boundary. Ta'amu just feels it, sees it. Elijah Moore turns and gives his quarterback a target for a big game.
Takes it out of Phillips' belly again, and Moore with his 4th catch. 1st down Rebels, and another late flag comes flying in.
Personal foul, targeting number 22 defense. The play is under further review.
That's Stephen Montag, senior from Covington, Georgia. So Vernon Dasher was not thrown out of the game for targeting. Again, Montag leading with that helmet. Had about the same amount of targeting calls through 9+ weeks in the 2018 season as we had at this point last year, but there have been so many debates about what actually is helmet-to-helmet contact. When are you leading with your head? I know LSU fans are all fired up about the fact that Devin White will miss the 1st half tonight against Alabama.
Yeah, the whole purpose of the rule is for player safety. We'll see if this one stands.
After further review, there is no targeting. The result of the play is a 1st down.
So we've had 2 situations, Matt, where George Raniger up here has overruled what happened on the field.
Well, I think what we've seen as this season has unfolded is you throw the flag and then let the booth with the luxury of slowing things down. See if there's a launch indicator, which is one of the things for intent. Is that, in fact, present? It's hard to see it real time. So the officials on the field, you throw the flag, let the replay booth try to get it right.
It's like the right thing to do. Montag stays in there. And now a reverse with Moore, with Ta'amu blocking in front, and he's out of bounds. That's a pickup of 5. Make it 6. True freshman from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Elijah Moore. He's been all over the football field.
He has. We saw 3 straight plays and get another touch to Elijah Moore, but you almost wonder if the Ole Miss Rebel offense would have preferred that target penalty not come out because of that rhythm and tempo they were in.
quick throw and a turn made by Braylon Sanders to get the first down. Sophomore from Hogansville, Georgia, with his 16th catch of the season.
And now Ole Miss into the red zone. There's no mental block necessarily, but this is where the offense, as we've seen, and you mentioned, Taylor, able to move the ball. As you see another Rebel, it looks like Braylon Sanders, and he may have injured his ankle when he made that out cut a little bit when he spun out towards the boundary. It might have been during the tackle with R.J. Roderick. It looks like see him spin out of this tackle, but Roderick, as he was tackling him, it was kind of like the same tackle with Rico Dowdle earlier. Watch his left leg. It's kind of pinned underneath him, and his ankle rolls inward. Very similar to what we saw happen to Rico Dowdle and Benito Jones on the tackle.
South Carolina is up 14 points. They have 5 first downs. Ole Miss has 12. We're in the first quarter.
Well, you think, you know, there's a turnover, you force a field goal attempt, a special team score, and, you know, in that regard, you know, the box score kind of lies to you. If you can't see the scoreboard and you look at those numbers, you're thinking, wow, Ole Miss must be really piling it on South Carolina. Not the case. And in talking with the South Carolina coaches, as you see Braylon Sanders gingerly leaving the field, that was the book. That's what they saw a week ago. Auburn gave up yards, sure, but they stiffened in the red zone. This is an offense that's going to pile up yards. You have to deny the end zone. Auburn was able to do that. So far, so has South Carolina.
Injuries for both of these teams was a factor in the first quarter. So was Deebo Samuel, the big kick return. Gamecocks up 2 scores. That is an Ole Miss Rebel through and through. Matt Luke in his 2nd year as a head coach, 11th year on the staff. Terrific offensive lineman here. Father Tommy played defensive back for Coach Johnny Vaught in the 60s. His brother Tim played for Coach Billy Brewer at quarterback in the 80s. His wife is from Oxford. He knows Ole Miss. And he's the perfect guy to lead their program through what has been a tough time after the probation. Unable to play in a bowl game last year or this year. Phillips straight ahead. And we mentioned that probation stench earlier this week. It was announced by the NCAA that they will not get the bowl ban back, but they will be allowed to have unofficial visits take place with recruits on campus, and that the investigation is over, which is the most important thing for Ole Miss fans.
That was the ambiguity of it, the uncertainty of what the status was. It was hanging over their heads in recruiting.
Fake to Phillips. Tomu inside the 10 takes a big hit. He's down at the 9-yard line. That was Stephen Montag that came in.
Stephen Montag, pretty active in run support to say the least. And Tomu that time with an inside run, and I'm not sure Montag didn't get the shorter end of that collision. You could hear it all the way up here in the booth. But Tomu trying to find his way into the end zone with some of that Q run game, and a 3rd and short. Not necessarily a comfort zone play for the Ole Miss Rebel offense. Scotty Phillips has gotten thicker, but he is by no means a big back.
You give it to him. First down. Touchdown.
But he's got speed. And speed can kill. And you see it right here, there's ability to bounce it outside. There really wasn't much space there at the point of attack. And Scotty Phillips just pressed it right at the line of scrimmage and was able to bounce outside. And you can see why he's been able to bring some of that run balance to what is a prolific offense.
Change, right? Luke Logan with the extra point, and it's 17-10. He's the junior from Ellisville, Mississippi. Scotty Toddy is what they say here in Oxford. Here in the great city of Oxford, Mississippi, Gamecocks 17, Ole Miss 10. First visit by South Carolina to Oxford in 10 years. Won this game 10 years ago. Beat them in Columbia the following year, which was the invention of Sandstorm at Williams-Brice Stadium, by the way, when they beat Ole Miss in 2009. Rebels do lead the overall series by a total of 8-7. It's a short kick. Keep away from Debo unless you bat it back to him. And up to the 31-yard line is where the Gamecocks will start, Chris.
Yeah, and they're without Rico Dowdle, who has gone into the locker room. He was barely able to put any pressure on that left ankle. And as you said, Taylor, he is a guy who has battled injuries his entire career. Just recently, I had a conversation with him. He told me this is the healthiest he's ever felt. And because of that, he's completely changed his diet. He was very strict about his warm-up routines and his training so that he could maintain being healthy. So really a shame for a kid who's tried to do everything that he's could to stay healthy.
Yeah, KB, you detailed that perfectly earlier in the season about all the changes he's made throughout the week to be healthy for a Saturday. So you hate to see him hurt here. Bentley with the quick throw. And it is caught by Chavis Dawkins, but almost gets nothing. Ken Webster there to blow it up.
They were trying to get a clean block out there by the true freshman, Dylan Wanham. He just didn't get out there quite quickly enough, and Ken Webster able to make that play.
4 yards there. Now on a second down, it's Jacob August with his second catch of the season. Bentley has some good-looking numbers so far in this game. You just saw 126, the most he's thrown in the first quarter this season, in large part to those throws, the bubbles to Tyson Williams. Now a third down. South Carolina at their own 35-yard line.
See those mass substitutions trying to get their pass rushers in the game by the Ole Miss defense.
And a fake, and Bentley runs for the first down.
That's what Mohamed Sanogo was talking about. This is the competitive nature of Jake Bentley. And Wesley McGriff, the defensive coordinator for the Rebels, he was concerned about the quarterback run game. They knew that Auburn was able to get a couple of pulls with Jared Stidham versus him a week ago.
Back to the ground game again, and Williams back in after being dinged up a couple of possessions ago. Chris telling you about the injury to Dowdle. Well, Williams had some helmet-to-helmet contact that Vernon Dasher initiated. Dasher called for targeting. They overturn it up here. This is a backwards pass as some flags come in. It's Josh Vann that caught the football.
Illegal formation, 5 players in the backfield on the offense. The penalties decline, third down.
Yeah, so you see, you got the guys in the backfield. Here's your 5. You got to have at least 7 up on the line of scrimmage. Oftentimes you'll see those line judges indicating who's on and who's off. That time, an illegal formation. Ends up backing up South Carolina after the completion.
3rd and 7. Gamecocks have to get to Ole Miss territory. Bentley, quick throw, incomplete. Good defense there by Keydron Smith, the true freshman from West Palm Beach, Florida.
The entire offensive line cuts right here because you're trying to get the defense's hands down. But Willie Hibbler is coming quickly, providing a little bit of pressure. Well defended in coverage as well. And we'll see the first punt of the game in this one for South Carolina.
Can confirm the punters are here.
Yeah, they made the trip.
This is Charlton. He's one of the best in Gamecocks history as it's fielded at the 10 by Elijah Moore. A 46-yarder for the junior from Columbia. See Phil Longo, and there's Matt Luke, the head coach at Ole Miss, coming in there trying to fire up that offense. Coach Longo, the offensive coordinator, talking to his quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu. Took a big hit from Stephen Montack on that last drive, but ready to go back in the football game as Ole Miss will start just outside their 10-yard line.
They'll be joined in the backfield by Isaiah Woolard, true freshman, that they're pretty high on as well in relief of Scotty Phillips. who's gotten most of the action so far in this game at running back.
Over 200 total yards of offense already for the Rebels. Quick throw to Lodge, and Lodge can't go anywhere. It's Keyshawn Nixon, second down.
Ole Miss is one of the best teams in the country in getting yards after the catch. They're not a big horizontal passing team, though. They're happy to push the football downfield, but they get a lot of yards after some of the easy completions as well, and South Carolina's done a great job.
Fake to Phillips, load up, middle of the field, wide open, up at the 38-yard line. It's Moore again.
Elijah Moore is emerging in this offense. His safety help coming over late, took a shot. It was Stephen Montag that was a little bit slow getting up, and the training staff for South Carolina ran out on the field before the officials stopped play. I'm sure Montag got off of the field after having been injured, a little bit rattled after the shot that he gave Moore coming over from safety.
26-yard pass for Ta'amu there. Fake to Woolard, and the one-handed grab by Moore.
T.J. Brunson, coming off one of his best games last week for South Carolina, tips his football. He tips it with his left hand, and Moore is in the zone right now. That ball's coming at him at a strange angle. It changed the trajectory of that football after the tip, and he was able to make a one-handed catch over the middle. Phenomenal play.
Into heavy traffic, and A.J. Brown had a shot at that one. Second down.
That just shows not only the chemistry that Ta'amu has with A.J. Brown, the trust that he has with him, but the accuracy as a passer. Because he was trying to fit that ball into a window of 4 South Carolina Gamecocks. Was able to buy a little bit of time, but that time a well-covered passing down for the South Carolina defense, where they have been hemorrhaging yards.
Ta'amu will take off. Woolard blocking in front of him. He's down near the 37-yard line for 4. It'll be third down. Kobe Smith on the tackle.
Now, the incompletion obviously knocks your average way down, but they're just so effective. Not only because they jump the football on first downs, but picking up positive yards to make it manageable. Second and third down. The incompletion sets it up for one of the longer third downs we've seen that wasn't created by penalty in this game.
Could be 4-down territory in this position on the field. Ta'amu has nothing. And he is tackled at the 37-yard line by Sherrod Green. So it's fourth, close to 5 yards, and we'll see what Matt Luke decides to do.
They were trying up top to see if they could get South Carolina running upfield, thinking that they were setting up a bubble. And you're right, 4-down territory. And A.J. Brown at the top of your screen right here. That's who they were trying to get it to on that last down. It ended up being very well covered outside.
Looking up there. First down.
Working against Fenton once again, and they're giving plenty of cushion. They don't want to get that explosive in front of them. That's one of the MOs of this South Carolina defense. They don't want to give up explosive plays. They're among the best in the country in preventing those. But the cushion was gracious enough to get the first.
To Woolard. First down inside the 10. That's DeMarcus Lodge, somehow keeping possession of the football.
It's a physical catch by DeMarcus Lodge, because Keyshawn Nixon is all over him throughout this route. He's arriving there right on time, and Lodge showing some of the hand strength to maintain possession of that throw on target from Ta'amu.
End zone, incomplete. J.C. Horn batted it away from Elijah Moore, second down.
That's excellent coverage by the true freshman in the slot. And Elijah Moore has been on fire in this game. J.C. Horn in perfect position on that lower hip of Elijah Moore and able to make that pass breakup. Ta'amu wanted Elijah Moore the whole way.
Leads the team in PBU's season, the true freshman. A great start to his collegiate career. Second down. Woolard over his head. Is this a lateral? No, whistle comes out. Third down. Ta'amu likes to use that throw. It's right at the same level of his eyes, and we've seen it 3 times today.
Pretty flat throw, too. You know, when you talk about upfield, downfield, you see a Gamecock defender shaken up at the end of this play in the end zone. Right on the S of the Rebels. It's kind of tangled up, it looked like, with Dawson Knox there at the end. Dawson Knox blocking all the way through the end zone. And R.J. Roderick, the true freshman who's been forced to play more and more reps at times. South Carolina will have 3 true freshmen in their defensive backfield.
Check on him. Timeout. Third down. Ole Miss 3rd and goal from the Gamecock 9, trailing 17-10, but dominating time of possession and total yardage. It's their 39th play so far in this game. We're not even halfway through the second quarter. Fourth down as he is flushed out of the pocket. Nice pressure by Aaron Sterling and DJ Wanham.
Looked like he wanted to go to A.J. Brown, who's been lined up outside to the left side of the formation the entire game. Elijah Moore really emerging in this one, and DeMarcus Lodge nearly the same number of red zone targets as A.J. Brown. But by the time Ta'amu came back to the right side of the formation, nowhere to go with the football.
How about the Gamecock red zone defense? It's been a big story in this game. The reason why they will maintain the lead. Logan from 26 yards. It's 17-13. Back. So a good one there and a good one here on a beautiful day in Oxford. Meanwhile, another injury stench. We have had half a dozen in the first half.
This might be number 7. This is just concerning, to say the least. You know, you've seen some of the guys, key contributors, of course, for South Carolina. This time, Alex Givens, starting right tackle for Ole Miss. A unit that is working on becoming more and more physical. We talk about the run game being more prominent. They moved the football right down the field. That time denied the red zone again. And as you pointed out, Taylor, the red zone defense for South Carolina has been big in their wins. You can think back even to a victory versus Missouri, able to again and again deny the end zone when a team is able to penetrate your own 20-yard line. It's an incredibly difficult thing to do. They've been able to do that every time except for one, forcing a turnover, 2 field goal attempts, only 1 touchdown allowed. But Ole Miss has lived on South Carolina's side of the field in this game.
He'll take a knee. You want to take some calls? Let's go to Rosemarie in Alabama.
He just taught me off the ledge because I don't know who to be upset at. I don't know if I should be upset at Jake, but I don't feel like it's Jake's fault. If Jake wasn't the one dropping his own passes, so I feel like we're getting worse, and that just makes me sad.
Jake Bentley's been questioned by his fans, been questioned by everyone so far this season, and some of it's been justified with those interceptions that he's thrown. Through 16 in his last 11 games, but man, he is a courageous player. Anytime he faces adversity, last few weeks we've seen it. Great second half performances, including what happened last week in the 12-point come from behind victory against Tennessee, and he'll load up. And down inside the 30, streaking to the end zone is Brian Edwards. 75 yards.
Brian McClendon is the wide receivers coach for South Carolina. He's on the sideline. Look at this catch. Reaching around the defender. Able to make that catch with one hand. That's a Deebo Samuel move. And Miles Hartfield gets outrun to the end zone. Offensive coordinator for South Carolina maybe should have spent more time on the sidelines. Ever since then, this wide receiving core has come alive.
Incredible catch by Edwards. And Jake Bentley says, can we take some more phone calls?
That's right. Rosemary got what she wanted.
she's cheering somewhere with the rest of Gamecock Nation. They're up double digits at Vaught-Hemingway. Incredible catch by Brian Edwards here.
I still don't know how he made this catch. I mean, at one point in time, he had to have used Jalen Julius to kind of keep that ball from bouncing down. We've seen a lot of great gloves, hands catches this year. But wow, a fantastic job by Brian Edwards.
Rebels get it at the 25-yard line. Back to Dari in the studio.
Great job, that was good. All right, guys, we'll see you at the half because these two are back here diagramming away. They're going to break down the biggest plays of the first half of this game we're watching in Oxford. Also going to update A&M and Auburn. A&M just regained the lead. I'm telling you, I believe that's 4 lead changes. And we will preview Statement Saturday with the 2 monster games in this league. We'll see you at halftime.
Basically semifinal games today in the SEC. Officially in the East, the winner goes to Atlanta. In the West, you would certainly think the winner tonight between Bama and LSU is headed there. Another fake to Phillips, and Tamu throws behind his intended target, DeMarcus Lodge, Chris.
Well, and as Stinch was saying, offensive coordinator for South Carolina, Brian McClendon, has come down to the sidelines after last week's game. He said, I wanted to be able to look my wide receivers in the eye. Was not happy with the way they were playing. Deebo Samuels told me it makes a huge difference. Just being able to talk to them gives them a confidence boost, and has completely changed the energy on the sidelines.
Big difference last week and again this week with all the points that they're scoring. And as you said earlier, Chris, the quick start that they desperately needed to get off to today. Meanwhile, we have another injured player on the field, Aaron Sterling, sophomore from Atlanta. It's been a key part of Will Muschamp's defensive line in 2018.
You know, going back to the wide receivers and the wide receiver play for South Carolina, there was a stretch there where the drops were becoming somewhat prominent, and it was where they were showing up. It was really compromising South Carolina offensively, and you have to know that in that passing battery, it's like in that radio call, Jake Bentley's not catching his own passes. So yeah, he's made some bad decisions. There's no 2 ways about it. He's forced the ball into coverage at times, but part of that's a function of the plays that should have been made before that weren't via drops. So the receivers got to pick up the quarterback. Quarterback's got to help the receivers. They've been able to fix that the last couple of games out.
Let's check this injury again to Sterling. This last play.
See Dawson Knox coming across and laying a cut block. You'll see that quite a bit in some of these zones. This is an RPO, so it ended up being a throw well behind Elijah Moore. Other than the helmet or his shoulder pad maybe making contact with his lower leg, I didn't see where there would have been anything tweaked or hung in the grass as that cut was made.
Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, it's Thinking Out Loud with Greg McElroy and Marcus Spears. They'll talk football and want your participation via social media throughout the show. It's also available streaming live on the ESPN app.
You know, this is a natural surface. Ole Miss went to that a couple of years ago. And we've seen a couple of times Elijah Moore on one of the catches where he lost his footing, and you wonder, you know, whether or not the surface today is in the best condition with the number of injuries that we've seen, guys going down, not just in piles, but during tackles.
Guys, this was something I noticed in pregame, especially with the defensive backs. When they would go to make a cut, it was starting to rip up the field, so they were having issues early on today.
Keep watching that. On a 2nd and 10 now. 7:37 still to go. A long first half. And Ta'amu, and he's up to the 34-yard line. In this RPO world that we live in, you see quarterbacks on almost a play-by-play basis put the ball in the belly of the tailback and take it out. I don't know that anyone does a better job of disguising that than he does.
He rides that handoff so long, so you just don't know, is it a give or a pull, and it makes the defenders commit.
This time it's a give, and it's a first down for Phillips.
Just think about it. So if you struggle on first down, you're able to pick up a chunk play with your quarterback run game, which frankly has been the more explosive. Outside of the one big run early for Ole Miss, for their rushing attack has been Jordan Ta'amu.
And look how wide open A.J. Brown is inside the 20. He beat Keyshawn Nixon.
Well, this play was basically which open receiver do you want to throw to? You want to throw to Elijah Moore, you want to throw to A.J. Brown. You can't argue with the decision. A.J. Brown, one of the best receivers, not just in this conference, but in the country. You look at the stats, and he's atop all of them. And you can see why. Keeping in mind, too, you know, they've pushed him outside. Not playing where he typically does, usually spending most of his time in the slot in this offense.
46 yards on that last play. Fake to Phillips. Ta'amu inside the 5. Touchdown, Rebels. He's shown off the arm for 251 yards passing, and he's run it 10 times, including that 17-yard touchdown run.
Set up by the big explosive play to A.J. Brown. We talked about it earlier. South Carolina has done a great job just about all season long. At Texas A&M, they broke out a couple. Missouri late in the game. And here, it was a matter of time before Ole Miss got loose with a big chunk play yet again. He ends up, and you mentioned the ride, and Scotty Phillips does a great job of faking as well. He's escorted into the end zone by his tight end, Octavius Cooley. See number 15 there? It's just a convoy. Ta'amu's taken some shots in the run game. He's been able to bounce back up, and he's a pretty poised guy, but you can see pretty fired up with that rushing touchdown.
Jordan Te'alolo Ta'amu Parafanos from Pearl City, Hawaii. Just down the street from the Pearl Harbor Memorial and near Aloha Stadium in Honolulu, close by to where Tua Tagovailoa is from. These are two of the best quarterbacks in all of college football in 2018.
You see that was the difference in that last drive. South Carolina only 8 plays of 30 yards or more. Ole Miss offense, the best in the country in generating those. That was the first such play in this game.
Debo. And Samuel is tackled at the 23-yard line. Wednesday, we'll have a special edition of SEC Inside. It's an all-access in-game pass to Alabama, LSU, and Georgia, Kentucky. Two of the biggest games of the weekend. SEC Inside, presented by Bass Pro Shops, right here on the SEC Network and on the ESPN app. You see the standings there in the West and the East. Top teams playing each other, and each stench which underdog later today has the better chance of victory.
I would say Kentucky, you know, and you're looking at it coming into the game, and they kind of play right into that mindset of being kind of overlooked and forgotten. Their best player, Benny Snell, feeds off of that.
Tyson Williams up near the 30. Snell was bottled up by Mizzou last Saturday. And of course, at the end of the game, it was Terry Wilson to C.J. Conrad for the game-winning touchdown. Dogs coming off that big win against the Gators as Williams moves the chains. Here, Gamecocks being outgained by over 100 yards and have a 4-point lead.
They've only run now 25 offensive plays, and part of it's a function of you keep putting your defense back out there. Ole Miss has run 44.
Slipping on the turf is Samuel. Second down.
We were talking about the field earlier. Well, that's twice now we see a quick pass and the receiver trying to make a cut and incapable of doing it. That time Samuel largely tackled by the grass, but you can see South Carolina, they're kind of desperate at this point to try to just possess the football. They've been able to put up the points, special teams contributing, but that defense has been on the field for quite a bit of time. Bentley's done a good job of spreading the football around. They need to convert here.
2nd and 11. Wide open is Williams again out of the backfield. This guy is having a day catching the football, and he's down to the 35-yard line. He's well over 100 yards receiving after that 31-yard catch.
It's an empty backfield set, and he was never accounted for in the coverage. Tyson Williams was lined up on the far boundary, and as you mentioned, you think back to that first offensive possession for South Carolina, a screen pass on a 3rd and long. Takes it for another big gain here to convert a 2nd down.
Placed by A.J. Turner, and Turner on the ground with a burst of speed. It's a 1st down run to the 25 for the junior from Clifton, Virginia. Has been in and out of the lineup this year with injuries.
Yeah, he missed a couple of games. He was in the concussion protocol. They felt like they could get him back, and with Rico Dowdle going down, couldn't come at a better time for South Carolina.
Turner bottled up. It's a loss of 2 yards. Meanwhile, they're looking at Williams' hand after Tyson made that most recent catch over on the sideline right now.
Big tackle for loss that time by Kadir Shepard, and could not have come at a better time. South Carolina not only getting into a rhythm, but grinding out some yards on the ground, converting the sticks.
Backfield on the 2nd and 12. Bentley, pocket collapses, somehow gets rid of it again. Inside the 10 to the 6 is Turner. And how about the tailbacks catching passes today for South Carolina?
Once again, Jake Bentley doing a great job of managing the pocket, staying alive. Could have gone down. It was nearly in a grasp of one of the defenders. Ole Miss getting late pressure, just scrapping his way up in the pocket, and again finding a back lined up out of the backfield and proving to be a lethal receiver.
1st and goal. Bentley under pressure, no place to go, and is down near the 10-yard line. That's a loss of 5. It'll be 2nd down. Josiah Coatney was there first.
The strange play, it almost looked like it was a broken play. And I don't know if Bentley was seeking to do a quarterback draw there or not. Turner stepped in and picked up the blitzer. Bentley had nowhere to go with the football right now on a quick throw and just tucked.
This is a flip out of the backfield. A flag comes in as Tyson Williams will score.
Holding, number 40 offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay 2nd down.
Jacob August, and you could tell right away, he turned around and was pleading his case. He got beat right now underneath. You can see, look, just a handful of jersey right there. Victor Evans able to get underneath his block almost immediately. I'm not sure that it was necessary, though, because of the width of that toss, that they would have already captured the edge regardless. This is a huge injury. Malik Young already in there in relief for Dennis Daly, who went down versus Tennessee. He played well last week, was playing pretty well in this game. And Blake Camper was a guy that was starting at right tackle, was beaten out over the bye week by a true freshman in Dylan Wanham, and Camper's kind of that swing offensive lineman. He's going to substitute in there at left tackle, somewhat of a makeshift offensive front at this point for the Gamecocks.
10 different times today we've seen an injured player in this first half. As Tyson Williams will come back into the game for the Gamecocks on what is a 2nd and goal from the Ole Miss 21-yard line. Underneath. Inside the 10, Samuel's out near the 6.
Not an easy catch for Samuel. That ball ended up hitting him low. He kind of had to stop on this route. You see that ball kind of dipping late, like a sinker. Samuel did a great job of not only turning upfield, but picking up positive yardage to regain most of what was lost from the holding penalty.
This is the 10th play for the Gamecocks. Bentley, incomplete. It's Chavis Dawkins, the intended target. The Ole Miss defense stiffens. It's 4th down.
Wow, that was a great job. It could have been easily, if you flinch defensively and you grab, pick up a defensive pass interference. Wesley McGriff pointed that out. South Carolina does a great job of drawing flags. Time cleanly played on the scramble drill by the Ole Miss Rebel defense.
Walker White from 23 yards. And it's a 7-point South Carolina lead with 2:01 to go in the first half. That's the good news for the Gamecocks. The bad news, that's an eternity for Jordan Ta'amu.
But at the very least, the South Carolina defense was able to get a little bit of a breather. Somewhat of a staged drive that time, and then you extend it with a penalty and an injury timeout once again. The defense may be able to catch its breath versus an offense that was able to start to get going in the explosive area.
Look at the time of possession that South Carolina has had the football in the last couple of games, going back to the Texas A&M loss 3 weeks ago, Tennessee last week, and now today. That drive was over 4 minutes, but Ole Miss continues to have an advantage today in time of possession as they've had it for 15.5 minutes. Will Muschamp's offense is going a lot faster this year, but I know he wants them on the field a little bit more than what we've seen the last 3 games.
And that's the balance, kind of the tightrope walk, because on that last series, you could see the tempo, able to get Ole Miss defensively a little bit out of sorts, able to hit a couple of plays, get loose into the secondary, but you don't want to do too much of that. If you're unsuccessful, you're giving the football right back to a dangerous offense.
And more with the fair catch. Ole Miss gets it at the 25. Coming up at halftime, you can watch the live performance of the official marching band for Ole Miss, the Pride of the South, on SEC Network Plus. Start streaming now on the ESPN Plus app. What a great day in Oxford. We had some fun in the Grove today. It's important to check out, to sample all the different food in one of the greatest spots in college football.
It's pivotal. I mean, if it can impact the outcome of games, I'm almost certain of it.
Ta'amu with another terrific half as he swings this one to Phillips. And that's 9 more for Ole Miss. That's 260 yards passing for Ta'amu here in the first half.
It makes it somewhat easy pickings, too. You got big bodies out there. A.J. Brown, Dawson Knox. Brown is the size of a lot of tight ends. Knox as well. So you're really just kind of moving the line of scrimmage when you throw it to Phillips out there.
Evidently with another injury. It's Javon Charleston, the junior from Illinois, who is down on the field. And as Matt told you earlier, South Carolina is decimated by injuries in the secondary.
Was underneath that tackle when Sherrod Green came over to make it. He's up high and Charleston down low. Looks like he rolled his ankle as well. You can't tape him up tight enough in this game. We've seen several ankle injuries, or what would appear to be lower leg injuries in this contest.
R.J. Roderick getting hurt a couple drives ago. Nick Harvey and J.T. Ebay both not playing today due to injuries.
Stephen Montag left the game for a bit. I mean, we've seen some guys cycle in and out. Now we'll see yet another Gamecock defender leave the field to play. Eventually, Charleston up working with the training staff.
Jalen Dickerson could be pressed into action here. The redshirt freshman from Southern Pines, North Carolina, that was a 5-star high school recruit a couple of years ago for Will Muschamp. It's good to see Charleston putting some pressure on that leg. There's Dickerson. Muschamp's been waiting, Matt, to see Jalen in a setting like this. Here's his chance.
Yet another young player in this secondary versus the best passing offense that you're going to find. So a trial by fire for Jalen Dickerson. This is a secondary that has played a lot of young players. Dickerson had not seen time.
2nd and 1. It's a handoff, and it's Phillips getting free into the secondary. Down inside the 30-yard line.
He's able to hit it right side. T.J. Brunson's out, and Jalen Dickerson at safety. He's got to trigger faster. It's coming at you quickly to make that tackle.
7 yards now. Ta'amu slides down at the 25-yard line. Ole Miss has had 7 20-plus yard plays here in the first half. South Carolina's had 6, so 13 total explosive plays in the first half, and still 1:18 to go as the Rebels call timeout. Ta'amu's been sensational, not only throwing but running today.
He's just so dangerous in both phases of an offense. He doesn't have to hand it off to hurt you in the run game, and he has got weapons outside. Elijah Moore just coming alive, and you knew what Ole Miss had offensively in A.J. Brown. But Ta'amu, they have been more intentional with getting him involved in this rushing attack. And he is dangerous, there's no doubt about it, but especially here in the first half, more active than usual on called quarterback runs. You could see that it makes a ton of sense. This guy is a tremendous athlete, a leading rusher right now in attempts for Ole Miss on the ground today.
Again, a design run, and they snip this one out. Javon Kinlaw, great defensive tackle for South Carolina, who had that huge game against Vanderbilt, which led to him being the SEC Player of the Week. He's there on the stop, forcing 3rd down.
That time on a 2nd down, South Carolina committed 5 defenders. Kinlaw able to get loose and separate to snuff out that QB draw.
Running on the 3rd and 9. Sprint out for Ta'amu to the right into the sideline. The catch is made by Moore again. That is another catch. That's 9 for Moore in the first half.
Look at the placement of this football right there. They don't want to lead his receiver out of bounds. You've got no room or margin for error. You're rolling to your right, pressure's coming, and Ta'amu able to deliver the football, and Moore steps out of bounds.
12 catches on the season coming in. Woolard blocking in front. Ta'amu free again. 1st and goal, Ole Miss. Montag saves the touchdown. Clock will run. 43 seconds left in the half once they mark this football.
Well, Ta'amu, he does a good job. He steps back and sells it. It's not immediate. It's just enough. You want that defense to hesitate just a moment.
Well, the clock is already 15 seconds has come out before the center judge moved. A little trouble with the clock. Ta'amu back incomplete. As he was looking for Sincere David, the defensive lineman that is lined up as a tackle eligible, but could not get it over the head of Kobe Smith.
He was lined up at the end of the line of scrimmage, And Daniel Fennell just instinctively turns and runs. Could feel Sincere David coming out, was in on the block earlier on a touchdown run, and they were just trying to sneak him out there.
This is Phillips near the goal line. Touchdown.
Behind the block of his left guard, Javon Patterson. He just kind of cozies up underneath there and did not see anything that would have established him down short of the goal line. See Scotty Phillips able to get it over the plane and into the end zone.
13 touchdowns if it stands, 11 on the ground. They will take another look here, Matt.
We're going to have to marry two looks because there's no way of knowing where that football is from that angle. You can see that his knee is down. I don't know how you could determine where the football is from this end zone look at it.
Mentioned Phillips with a terrific year running the football. It started the first game of the season against Texas Tech. 10 touchdowns on the ground before this one.
And nobody scores touchdowns like Scotty Phillips in this conference. Had 11 of them.
So you see on the right, that's where his knee is down, Stinch. Evidently, that's the same exact moment. That look from the side. Find out if that's enough to overturn it.
Yeah, keeping in mind, obviously ruled a touchdown on the field. Has to be indisputable video evidence. See Scotty Phillips. As you mentioned earlier, and we were talking with Matt Luke, a guy that was lightly recruited, wasn't a big guy, kind of a jitterbug type of a back at a small school. Nobody paid a lot of attention to him. He was actually wanted to like Georgia because of Todd Gurley, entirely different body type and runner for that matter, but was just overlooked by virtually everyone. And then Ole Miss circles back. He put on some weight, and they liked him, and he's been a difference maker.
After further review, the ruling is the runner's knee was down with the ball inside the 1-yard line, short of the goal line. By rule, that would include a 10-second runoff. However, Ole Miss has charged their final timeout to conserve the 10 seconds. It's 3rd and goal.
Okay, so 3rd and goal. They use their final timeout.
They buy back those 10 seconds that otherwise would have run off. With the review, you see Matt Luke confirmed with Mark Curlis.
You have almost no chance of getting another playoff if you don't get into the end zone and you run the football here. Will Coach Longo and Coach Luke decide to do that, or simply let Jordan Ta'amu make the decision with his arm?
You can always give him, when you sprint out a quarterback, you give him that running option. We haven't seen them do a lot of that, frankly. You've got two weapons out wide that you like in the red zone. We mentioned earlier, A.J. Brown and DeMarcus Lodge, both are frequent targets of this offense. Lodge in and out there. They're going with their big personnel grouping. Octavius Cooley in there, as is Sincere David, number 93. See, here's the big guys. This is a similar personnel grouping and formation when they ran it in last time.
It's Phillips on the ground into the end zone. A gutsy call, and it pays off.
They just run power. And they want Javon Patterson to be the leader, but Scotty Phillips, he had to run through a tackle right there at the goal line, and it was DJ Wanham, and only his 2nd game back since the opener, who had a shot to make that play. he was able to shed a blocker. Scottie Phillips showing some of that power and leg drive in his lower body to get in.
What a half of football. 27 all, 751 combined yards and 54 combined points.
CC Phillips and DJ Wanham had him. That's a big body right there. Defensive end meeting your running back in the hole. He had come off a block, and Scottie Phillips showing excellent balance. And he muscles his way into the end zone. You can see the numbers, total touchdowns. That's what matters the most. He's got 13 of them. It's funny, talking to his teammates, we talk about the prominent role that he has in this offense. And they say you'd never know it. He might go from Monday, wake up on Monday and go to sleep on Friday and haven't never said a word. And when he does, it almost all kind of, it's like a needle dragging across the record. But he is productive on the football field.
Not be done yet. Number one is standing back there. And let's see if this ball will get all the way to him. It will. He'll field it at the 8. Took one 90 yards earlier, and this time he is down at the 28-yard line. Well, Georgia Tech, Army, Air Force, their games at this pace would be going to the fourth quarter. We're about to go to halftime.
It's been a long first half, but they have piled up some offensive production. Well, what'd you say? We're on pace for 800 plus in this?
800 plus yards just for Ole Miss.
Oh, just for Ole Miss in this one.
We're on pace for 1,500 yards total. Oklahoma played Texas Tech in a game like this 2 years ago. Those two play tonight. Maybe this is the appetizer for that. 27 apiece between the Gamecocks and the Rebels. Both offenses putting up video game-like numbers.
It started fast for South Carolina right out of the gate. You take a kickoff back for a touchdown, and then you're able to drive down again. You hit a big score on a big shot to Brian Edwards on a circus catch. But Elijah Moore there for an entire stretch of the first half, just powering the Ole Miss offense. And you can't overlook A.J. Brown and his contributions as well.
Will Muschamp is with Chris Button.
Coach, you told me one of the biggest keys was starting fast, and you did that. What do you attribute that to?
Well, the kickoff return was huge. I think offensively moving the ball really well. We got to get a stop defensively. We gave up a 3rd and 14 and gave up a 4th and 7. Play a little better in the red zone.
You've done well in the red zone. What do you need more of defensively to start to slow them down?
Well, just, you know, they've hit some chunk plays on us. He's hurt us with his legs at times on some of the zone read pulls. Do a better job of leveraging the ball.
Thank you, Coach.
Both quarterbacks have thrown for 270 yards. Tack off a 0, and it's tied 27 apiece. SEC halftime report right now with Dari, Coach Chiz, and CD. Welcome back to SEC football presented by Allstate. Do you like scoring? South Carolina 27, Ole Miss 27. Do you like yardage? 751 yards combined in the first half. I don't know how in the world the truck put highlights together. There are so many to choose from, Stinch. Let's take a look at Playing with Style brought to you by Belk. Started on the first play.
Yeah, I mean, it was just, we had to pace ourselves. So on the first kickoff of the game, and Deebo Samuel takes it all the way back for a team that has started slowly. Then on a first down on the minus side of the field, South Carolina takes a shot that Brian Edwards makes a one-handed catch. Scottie Phillips, who we talked about, has paced the run game for Ole Miss all season long, rips off a big run, and you knew it was just a matter of time before A.J. Brown made his fingerprints all over this football game. Another big play for number 1 out wide, who's been playing in a different position really for the entire game on the outside of the formation. As you see the numbers, far more balanced for Ole Miss and their approach, and it's been a lot more abbreviated for South Carolina. Only 316, I say only, offensive plays, or offensive yards rather, because they haven't run a lot of plays. Right now, Ole Miss on pace to run over 100 snaps in this game.
And the Rebels will get it first in the second half. Will Tommy will kick it deep to Elijah Moore. Moore had 9 catches career high in the first half. And his Rebels will take it at the 25-yard line, Chris Button.
That last touchdown before halftime seemed to add a little pep in their step for this Ole Miss offense. Matt Luke telling me, hey, I know that we have our issues in the red zone. We're not going to score every time, but I was pleased with what we did down there. He said defensively, we have to make them earn it and quit giving up the chunk plays.
Total yards, 433 for Ole Miss, 316 for South Carolina. And how about that first half that this guy had?
I mean, you keep wondering, what is the limit of Jordan Ta'amu's production offensively? Because he does it in so many different ways.
Quick throw to Moore, his 10th catch, but a flag comes in.
Likely going to be a holding call on DeMarcus Lodge out there.
Holding, number 5 offense. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay first down.
You see Lodge working. And what they're saying is, you know, look, you got a handful of jersey, and especially when the defender is turned and the ball carrier goes outside, almost always they'll see that outside shoulder of the defender turn in, and that flag's coming out.
To Phillips. Past the 25 and up near the first down marker. Gain of more than 20 yards as Jalen Dickerson forces Phillips out of bounds. It's a pickup of near 20, make it 19, so it'll be 2nd and 1. And now Phillips to the ground for the first down, up to the 39-yard line. Phillips with a couple of rushing touchdowns in the first half, now has 13 total touchdowns on the season, 11 on the ground.
Just so efficient. And he's got excellent balance, couples that with good vision as well.
Fake to Phillips all day. Look at the blocking in front and the time to deliver the ball to A.J. Brown. Brown down to the South Carolina 40-yard line.
All the way across the formation for A.J. Brown. And you mentioned the protection, and Jalen Dickerson, you see this crossing pattern all the way, and Dickerson with another 7 yards of cushion off of A.J. Brown. T.J. Brunson was trying to get underneath that route, but there was more than enough time for Brown to clear all the way across the football.
Brown with 6 catches for 115 yards today as Ole Miss is driving again. On our broadcast team this year.
SEC championship quarterback.
Right. Nowhere to go for Ta'amu as that one was blown up. 2nd out. T.J. Brunson, big game last week, Matt. He was there.
Yeah, Will Muschamp was talking about how much their linebacker play has improved. And we've seen this team a lot this season. There was room for improvement, no doubt. Brunson, with the type of production he was expecting to see out of him versus the Vols in their last contest.
Fake, gets a couple people to bite, and it's Dawson Knox inside the 20 down to the 16-yard line.
Versus Arkansas was kind of the coming out party for the tight end position for Ole Miss offensively. A couple of nice plays, not only for Dawson Knox, but also Octavius Cooley.
Fake to Woolard, end zone, incomplete to A.J. Brown. Second down.
We talked about the red zone defense for South Carolina. Denying the end zone. 5 out of 6 chances, actually got a turnover at one point.
Phillips, and he's up near the 10. Stephen Montack on the tackle will be 3rd and short.
That time a good job by Montack. He was playing near the tackle box, up there almost at linebacker depth. Scotty Phillips, he finishes his runs physically, always able to pick up a couple of extra yards, it seems like, after contact.
Miss with over 500 total yards. That's the first drive of the third quarter. And a whistle.
Jordan Ta'amu, you could see him looking at the sideline and then pointing towards Sean Rawlings. I don't know if he was asking.
Illegal motion. Number 10 offense was moving forward at the snap. The penalties decline. 4th down.
I wonder if Ta'amu was asking if he was supposed to be under center for this play, because he ends up walking up. Sean Rawlings fires the snap back. You can see Ta'amu visiting with offensive coordinator Phil Longo and Elijah Moore as well. Definitely some confusion, but strange for Ta'amu to kind of gesture towards the line of scrimmage both times, and then I don't know if he was going to check the play.
Cost him a chance at a conversion. And now this is a 31-yard field goal attempt, and it gives Ole Miss their first lead of the game. Rebels on top. Gamecocks get the football. Jake Bentley, 270 yards passing in the first half today against the Rebels.
Well, he played pretty well last week versus Tennessee, and we've already documented there have been moments when there's been some rocky performances for Jake Bentley. But Brian Edwards, Deebo Samuel earlier on, and we've seen a host of running backs, Tyson Williams most prominently contributing to the offensive performance there in the first half. And Bentley, as you see his numbers, 14 of 18, 270 yards, the touchdown, was able to steer that offense well in the first half. See if South Carolina is able to establish much of a running game versus this Ole Miss defense.
Wisely, they kick it short, and it's Markway that fields it, so South Carolina will get it at the 30, Chris.
Yeah, Tyson Williams a couple minutes ago ran off into the locker room. He was under his own power. South Carolina does not disclose injuries, but he has not come back out yet.
One of many that the Gamecocks have had to deal with today. Rico Dowdle has not come back either. We have seen A.J. Turner, who has been banged up the last couple of weeks, and now Mon Denson is out there standing behind Bentley. A couple of offensive lineman injuries too. Dennis Daly and Malik Young both out. Blake Camper is at right tackle, and Bentley around the left side will run out of bounds as Mohamed Sanogo chased him out for 5.
Yeah, with Tyson Williams going into the locker room, it's, you know, who's playing the fife? This is the charge of the Light Brigade for South Carolina here in the second half. You've got a reshuffled offensive front. You're down your top 2 rushers at running back after a pretty impressive performance a week ago.
Line of scrimmage throw to Shi Smith, then here come the Jets. Down near the 30-yard line, the 31 is Hartsfield. Makes the tackle. It's 35 more for the electrifying sophomore.
Well, there was a great catch in the first half by Brian Edwards. How about the block on the edge? To be able to spring Shi Smith for the big gainer.
Denson straight ahead. And you were talking in the first half as Smith had a big catch. This guy has been explosive as a sophomore. Had a big game against Michigan in their win in the Outback Bowl last year. But he has come on as their deep ball threat in 2018. It's not just Deebo and Brian Edwards in this South Carolina offense. Bentley, muddy pocket, middle of the field, incomplete. There's Smith again, second down.
Had his hands on it, just couldn't bring it down. It's a little bit late. Bentley came back to him. He was trying to work the other side of the formation, came back to Shi Smith over the middle. Pretty well defended that time by Miles Hartfield to break up that reception, but Smith able to get hands on the ball.
Denson for a few, Smith with an incompletion. Now 3rd and 7 to get near the 20 for a first. And underneath, first down inside the 15 to Brian Edwards. One catch for 75 yards for Edwards before he moved the chains there, and we have another Ole Miss player that's banged up.
Obviously a third down catch here to convert and get his offense into the red zone.
Check on that player and be back in just a moment.
Welcome up back. The injuries piling up for South Carolina. Here's a list of players who have been injured and have not come back to the game. Defensive back Javon Charleston, who I have seen out here on a bike. Rico Dowell went down early. The running back, defensive lineman Aaron Sterling. Malik Young, the left tackle, he is out here stretching. And then again, just recently, Tyson Williams, another running back for South Carolina, ran into the locker room, has not come back out yet, guys.
It has been crazy today, Chris, for both teams. And Willie Hibbler was the latest Ole Miss Rebel that was banged up. They caused that timeout. 1st and 10 for the Gamecocks after Edwards' completion moved the chains to the Ole Miss 14. Bentley. That's a catch made inside the 5, down near the 4 for Smith.
Working out of the slot. He was on Deebo Samuel's side on the left side of the formation. See Smith calling for the football right over his quarterback's eyes. Was able to make that completion to set up the 2nd and short.
Offsides, free play for Ole Miss, or for South Carolina rather, touchdown. That's Josh Vann. And that should stand as Jake Bentley's.
Number 95, defense. Penalties decline. Touchdown.
That's his 500th career completion, and it's a touchdown pass to the true freshman, Josh Vann.
As you mentioned, a free play. And a lot of times what you'll see is it'll just kind of freeze the defense. Josh Vann slips into the end zone and able to come down with the touchdown catch, and South Carolina answering the field goal drive by Ole Miss to open the 2nd half.
Parker White makes it 34-30. South Carolina, as Bentley takes advantage of the flag being on the ground, encroachment on the Ole Miss defense, and Josh Vann with his first touchdown catch as a Gamecock.
Laid it right in there. We think Shi Smith once again coming up big. Nice block from Brian Edwards. Brian Edwards stepping up on the 3rd down conversion, a catch over the middle. Then Smith again just to set up that 2nd down play right there, knocking on the door. And Jake Bentley has been incredibly effective. Now 18 of 23, added another 63 yards on that drive. A couple of touchdowns now. They climb back ahead of Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss in the red zone, we won't call them issues. They're 6 of 7 with the 1 turnover, but the 3 field goals on those 6 trips, more than keeping South Carolina in this game, allowing the Gamecocks to stay ahead.
Bentley into 6th all-time in passing yards with this performance. Let's go back to the studio and Dari Noko.
Guys, we're going to go out of the footprint here because we like to keep up with those top 10 teams like Ohio State, a loss away from kicking them right out of the playoff conversation, trailing Nebraska late into the 3rd. J.K. Dobbins into the end zone. They're up 23-21. Meanwhile, our next game right here on the SEC Network, Dan Mullen in Florida arriving at the Swamp where they will host Missouri, guys.
So Florida, after the loss last week to Georgia, the top 2-loss team in college football.
Missouri run defense versus Kentucky a week ago was pretty stout. Put a lot of pressure on Florida and 3 big friends.
Phillips straight at that Gamecock defense up near the 34-yard line where he's tackled by Brunson.
Now he's slow to get up. This Phillips.
Tamu's had another great day, 334 yards passing, and he has moved up the charts today. Tamu has. He has passed Stuart Patridge, Chad Kelly, Jevin Sneed. You see Eli Manning, the latest that he's passed in terms of season yardage by an Ole Miss Rebel quarterback.
Somewhat prominent name here in Oxford, I would think.
It's a heck of a list there.
It's an unbelievable list. You could just see, and it's a short work, incidentally, for Ta'amu.
40 more for one of Sunshine's great seasons. Past that. Good to see Phillips get up.
Fell awkwardly at the end of that run. And as you mentioned, right at the South Carolina defense. Haven't seen a ton of yardage gained right in the middle, especially out in the field. We've seen success for Ole Miss running the football with Jordan Ta'amu on some of the pulls and QB draws. But it hasn't been a lot of tackle-to-tackle space for the Ole Miss rushing attack.
Isaiah Woolard in there, spelling Phillips, and a big tight end knocks in motion, and it's Woolard. First down, Rebels. Woolard, the freshman from Hattiesburg, by way of Presbyterian Christian High School. He's been the complimentary back to Phillips this year with 3 touchdown runs. That is the 27th first down for Ole Miss in this game. It's up to the 44 for Lodge. As the Rebels took the lead for the first time today on their first possession of this second half before the Gamecocks answered with their own touchdown. But the numbers are staggering, 523 total yards. And it's Ta'amu for a few more third down.
It just speaks to some of the issues, capitalizing. You pile up the yards, you get it down there, you got a scoring opportunity. What you don't want is to send out your field goal unit. We talk about Jordan Ta'amu's assaulting the career passing records and season passing records. As you look at the numbers, the red zone possessions and Ole Miss able to get into scoring space. They're just shy of getting on the South Carolina side of the field yet again here in the second half.
No place to go for Ta'amu. It's fourth down as Shamik Blackshear comes in there.
That time just a bad read by Ta'amu because he's reading the edge defender. And Shamik Blackshear did not sink down on the fake, on the handoff inside to Woolard. Instead, he ended up bouncing right back out and upfield to make that play on Jordan Ta'amu for a negative yardage. And the Ole Miss offense stopped.
Let me introduce you to Mac Brown, the punter for Ole Miss. Brian Edwards down there with a fair catch near the 12-yard line.
Brad, he came. Oh, we didn't know,
he was
showed
here.
up.
That's right. Monday at 7 Eastern, it's Thinking Out Loud with Greg McElroy and Marcus Spears. They'll talk football and want your participation via social media throughout the show. It's also available streaming live on the ESPN app.
So if you're Ole Miss, you got the ball in the second half, you went right down the field, and then you run out of gas in the red zone again, you kick a field goal. South Carolina comes storming back, goes right back down the field, scores a touchdown, and your offense gets stuck. Now you're able to gain some field position. There's no doubt about that. You're having South Carolina start on their own 12-yard line. It's an 88-yard field. But this defense for the Rebels, they need to get a stop here. Get the ball back to your Rebel offense. What you don't want, we saw South Carolina late in the second half. They started to establish the run a little bit, albeit underhanded right now, shorthanded rather, at the running back spot because of the injuries. They got a little bit more committed to the ground game.
So there's a penalty on South Carolina, a block in the back that gives the Gamecocks the football just outside their own 5-yard line. Bentley fakes to Denson. Incomplete into his bench, looking for Deebo Samuel. Willie Hibbler, who was hurt a few plays ago, was pressuring Bentley.
Hibbler slow to get up once again. Willie Hibbler was a guy that Wesley McGriff, defensive coordinator for Ole Miss, singled out. Said that he was really starting to come on, that he was a talented guy. He was a little bit hesitant, always wanted to be right, wanted to read it and play it correctly all the time. Wesley McGriff said just pull the trigger, and that time, a little bit injured, leaves the field.
Denson up near the 9-yard line, and be third down from there.
Got to keep in mind, you know, South Carolina, we documented some of the injuries. So here you are in your coming out offense. kind of loath to throw the football. They moved the pocket on the first. You got Mon Denson in there, who's probably your third or fourth choice at running back. But you got to make sure that A.J. Turner has got some juice in his legs for the later half of the second half.
One-on-one ball. Incomplete. That was Shi Smith, and he had it. But both hands on that football.
Shi Smith's had a heck of a game, but this is twice now. He's had both hands on the football and does not come up with the catch. But Jake Bentley cannot throw it much better than that. Might have been a tad outside look, and that's Parson Harris. You have to come up with that catch. And a great job by the Ole Miss Rebel defense, aided by that drop. The first 3 and out all game long for the South Carolina offense, and a chance to get the ball at midfield.
Charlton from the middle of his own end zone with Moore waiting on another terrific punt. Takes him back to the 35-yard line as he misjudged that football. Gets around the corner and is back up to the 46-yard line. It's a 55-yard punt by Charlton. Elijah Moore has had a career day for the Ole Miss Rebels.
Well, he's obviously getting more looks since the injury to Metcalf, and boy, has he capitalized on it. He has been a terror out of the slot all game long. You talk about asking a guy to fill some big shoes, and it's not Metcalf's, it's A.J. Brown's. A.J. Brown slid outside, and Elijah Moore has been tasked with stepping up as that slot receiver in this offense, and he has answered the bell.
Phillips is back in there for being banged up on the last drive. Ta'amu, that's a wobbler that came out of his hand funny. Second down.
A little bit of pressure there right at the tail end. Bryson Allen Williams got a little bit of pressure coming around. He took a shot there right at the tail end. Jay Webb there in the center of the Gamecock defense with the pressure.
Seen a lot of Webb this season. Second down, Moore, incomplete. That was almost picked off by J.C. Horn.
See, Ta'amu, he wanted that one back almost as soon as he let it go. Didn't have enough on this football. Had hands in his face. This ball thrown behind Elijah Moore. He had a step on J.C. Horn. Horn did a great job of turning and playing this ball in the air and nearly coming up with the second turnover of the game for the Gamecock defense.
That's a low throw that is caught by Floyd Allen, but Allen is going to be about a yard shy of the first down.
As you mentioned, a little bit low. Ta'amu off on really 3 consecutive throws. And you see once again, and we saw Ole Miss do this in the first half, at about the same part of the football field. They're near midfield, going for it on 4th down.
Phillips, first down.
We talk about Scotty Phillips, this time showing great patience. Just wait. Javon Patterson, a little indecisive on his pull from left guard. And Scotty Phillips setting up his block, waiting for a chance to burst through the line and able to convert another 4th down.
Back to him again. Down near the 37-yard line.
You know, it's easy to kind of get lulled to sleep on how significant it is. Scotty Phillips, who gets the first carry, he pick up 4 yards. And this kind of offensive fireworks show that we've been seeing, I mean, that opens up a lot of opportunity here on 2nd down for an offense that could be explosive.
Ta'amu to Knox inside the 20.
Dawson Knox was attached at the end of the line of scrimmage, and he delay releases. It's really easy to lose track of a tight end. Looks like he's going to be in the protection scheme. He releases late, pops wide open over the middle.
Somewhere his grandparents are cheering in the stands. We saw them in the Grove before the game. Brentwood Academy come over from Nashville for all the Ole Miss home games. There's a quick throw, and it yields almost nothing to Lodge. In fact, it might have lost a yard.
Octavius Cooley, he tips this play right away. I mean, he almost turns like he's going to go run out there and block before the ball was even snapped. I'm not so sure that South Carolina didn't sniff that out just based on the inside receiver's position and stance. A.J. Brown's been relatively quiet so far this half.
Phillips inside the 10.
Seems like most of his best runs have been to the right side of this offensive front. Alex Givens, Brown up there working his magic.
First and goal for Ole Miss. Moore inside the 5. Sean Nixon forcing him out.
We talked about Brian Edwards, a deep threat for South Carolina, blocking well that time. Elijah Moore doing work on the edge once again. A name that we've called far more than I would have anticipated coming into this game.
The lead back in front of Phillips as Tamu goes up to the line of scrimmage. Very rarely see this, and the toss out to Phillips. What a play call.
Well, so everything you're going to see, Tamu, he's going to reverse out and then pitch it wide. You've got all your formation going into the boundary. South Carolina's eyes are going to be pulled to their left as Tamu kind of reverses out, the lead back. That time Dawson Knox headed that direction. Fake 62, halfback flip left. Every offense has got it, and Ole Miss certainly does, and this time for 6.
10-play drive, touchdown, Rebels. We saw who was in the first round of the college football playoff rankings, with Alabama at 1, LSU at 3, playing each other, sandwiched between number 2 Clemson and number 4 Notre Dame. Irish have Northwestern today in Evanston. Number 1 versus number 3 tonight. Tiger Stadium in Death Valley. Debo from the 15-yard line, and he is tackled up near the 27. South Carolina on offense the last 5 times they've had the football.
You can see that the way that they've been able to punch it in, but then of course end of half, this punt, the last one, the first 3 and out, that set Ole Miss up on a short field, incredibly short field at that. They're almost in plus territory right out of the gate. They punch it in and able to take yet another 3-point lead. So now it's kind of starting to seesaw back and forth here in the second half.
Denson to the 32. Coatney on the tackle after a 5-yard pickup. If you're just joining us, South Carolina's been hit hard by injuries today on both sides of the field, as Rico Dowdle had a significant leg injury. Tyson Williams has been banged up. It's Denson that's come in, and a big hit on Edwards there that's delivered by Willie Hibbler.
This is a shot. Let's see if we can hear this. Willie Hibbler coming in there. You can hear the crowd reaction. Great job by Brian Edwards maintaining possession of that football. He knew he was going to take a shot from Hibbler.
So 3rd and 2. Denson, at last effort, is right at the yard to gain.
It looked like Bentley had Casey Crosby but he came off of him and went to Denson. He ended up checking it back down over to his back, over in the flats. You're right, Taylor. He was down and it looks right at the sticks. Take a look at that and bring out the chains.
So 2-3 inches to go. And what will Will Muschamp do on his own 36-yard line?
Well, he's seen 2 fourth-down conversions on the other side. He's leaving his offense out there on the field. This is oftentimes a challenge to your offensive front. And what he's saying, look, we saw them commit to the run, and they're trying to keep the football away from the Ole Miss offense. There haven't been a ton of stops until they get into the red zone. You're down 3 right here. But you're rolling the dice a bit early in this game. The concern would have to be, I think, you mess around, you get a trap meet versus Ole Miss. But you're going to be giving them, if you don't convert this, yet another short field to work with.
Denson in the backfield. First effort, second effort. I don't think he got there. Vaught Hemingway Stadium thinks it's a turnover on downs.
How about this Rebel defense? You force a 3 and out. It's Josiah Coatney. Josiah Coatney makes this play. He stands big Zach Bailey up and pushes him backwards, and there is nowhere to go from Mon Denson. And now you have put your defense and an injury impacted defense at that on a really short field to defend.
Saw Bentley come over almost like he was measuring a putt, trying to read it to see if this ball was far enough. And it's not.
If you look in the middle of the Ole Miss defensive front, see him stand up, the South Carolina offensive lineman, there's just no push. So if you can withstand that first wave, then the second wave's coming. Here come the linebackers. Great job by number 40 inside. And Josiah Coatney made that play possible for the Rebel D.
Fake to Woolard. Ta'amu takes a shot and a flag comes down. DeMarcus Lodge got tangled up. Ta'amu also took a shot too. And that's Rashad Fenton, who was tangled up with Lodge.
Zimbare, the true freshman.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Pass interference, number 16, defense. That penalty's declined. Personal foul, roughing the passer, number 52, defense. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot, first down.
J.J. Enigbare comes in here on Ta'amu at the end of the play.
See Ta'amu with the fake. Now look, I guess what they're saying is he tackled him through, but he's right there with making the contact as he's throwing the football. It didn't look like the initial contact was late. The flag came out anyway. Good to see Ta'amu get up, but if you're a defender, that's a tough flag to see come out.
Matt Corral is the backup, and he's 11 for 12 on the season with 2 touchdowns, and he's also run it 7 times for 2 touchdowns. So the offense does not slow down with the freshman from Ventura, California when he comes in.
Well, Phil Longo said, you talk about a totally different personality. Not better, just different. And Corral is a fiery guy. You can see that coming out. He's not nervous about this moment.
back, takes on Gamecocks to the 15.
And pullers around in front, and Woolard, how about spelling Scotty Phillips, who's putting together a pretty strong day of his own. That corral in there, they give him the handoff. Woolard able to pick up about 8 yards there on first down to make it easier on Phil Longo with his backup in there at quarterback.
He is again first down inside the 10. Down near the goal line, he'll be marked down at the 1.
Just kind of picks his way through here. Ended up really Kobe Smith for South Carolina picking off Bryson Allen Williams, who looked like he might have had a shot to make that tackle. But Woolard just picking his way through the South Carolina defense. And Jalen Dickerson, who's been forced into service with another missed tackle, trying to come up and run support.
First and goal with Ta'amu back on the field. Woolard won't get in. Sherrod Green, part of the crew with Javon Kinlaw and others that were in there. Second down.
Pretty good job by South Carolina defensively. You can't overstate enough. All these red zone stops, none are bigger than this one right here after a 4th down gamble.
Ta'amu and his friends will walk 98 yards to the other 1-yard line. Ole Miss grabs the lead, and they're on the doorstep on a beautiful Saturday in Oxford. South Carolina red zone defense has been good today, but they put themselves in a tough spot here. See the total yardage. We are 3 away from 1,000 combined yards in this game, and Ole Miss is 2 away from 600 and 2 away from the end zone. Woolard right at the goal line, and he's marked down shy. TJ Brunson got him on the ground, 3rd down.
It looked like Woolard was going to be able to sneak in there, especially after he spins out of this tackle. Brunson up there. The ball was in Woolard's inside hand, and it looked like when Brunson got in there to kind of clean it up, he tackled the football quite literally and kept it out of the end zone.
Half of his body was in the end zone, but the ball was not.
Everything but the ball. Scored right there.
This time he dives in. Ole Miss, 600 total yards.
He was actually expecting contact, could have walked in for that touchdown run. And you will think back to the gamble on 4th down on your own side of the field. And South Carolina incapable of picking up a yard, and a big stand by the defense to set up this scoring drive.
Ole Miss now up double digits after Isaiah Woolard is the latest to find the end zone in Oxford. Rebels on top. Yeah, they turned it around last year, Dari, after a 1-5 start and finished 7-5. So still time for Barry Odom and Drew Lock to do that this year, and there's still time for South Carolina to turn it around. Short kick. It's Samuel Fields at the 15. He's got a 90-yard kick return in the game, and he's past midfield here. 38 more for one of the best we've ever seen in college football.
He just always seems to show up when South Carolina needs him the most. Just such a phenomenal weapon on special teams as a return man.
Well, and Barry Odom says he's going to climb out of the stadium if they kicked it to him.
Well, yeah, I don't know what Matt Luke's going to do. Dig out of here, something. Just, you can't let this guy touch the football anymore in the return game.
Ron Denson, the short yardage back, has been pressed into every down duty with injuries to Rico Dowdle and Tyson Williams. And there's Denson running downhill inside the 45, tackled by Mohamed Sanogo.
That's a run scheme that I thought we would see more of earlier out of South Carolina when they did run the football, because Auburn had repeated success versus Ole Miss doing just that.
Benson gets near the 38 where Sanogo greets him, so it'll be 3rd and short.
See, yet another time for this Rebel defense as they quick snap it.
And the extra effort moves the chains with 3 straight carries by the redshirt junior from LaGrange, Georgia.
And Ole Miss wasn't quite ready for that one, it didn't look like. As you see Zach Bailey now, left guard, had a great game last week. He's slow getting up after that tempo run.
And now Turner comes in, spelling Denson. Bentley fakes to him, looks around. Nice catch made by Edwards inside the 20. And Bentley surveys the whole field to find his top target.
Bentley's had time almost all day. Protection has been superb. And Brian Edwards, you know, A.J. Brown's probably the best receiver in the game for yards after the catch with the ball in his hands. Brian Edwards isn't far behind him. He's made some fantastic catches. Not a ton of them in this game. Obviously the big touchdown grab, a 3rd down conversion earlier this half. Then a nice catch there, picking up yards after he made the completion.
Goes out, Josh Vann comes in. Caught a touchdown pass on the last drive. You see Miller dinged up. CJ's been banged up several times this season. Carry to Turner inside the 15. It'll be 2nd down. Bentley's now 6th all-time in South Carolina passing yards. He passed Anthony Wright and Phil Petty today. There's 2 other guys in the top 10. Todd Ellis there on your left that is seated. He's number 1 in passing yards. And then the guy on the right with the glasses, that's Tommy Suggs. He's 10th. A lot of great Gamecock quarterbacks in the house today. Bentley to the 5-yard line, 1st and goal from there as Vann makes another catch. True freshman has come on in the last few weeks.
Certainly has here in the 2nd half. He tried to stop and redirect. His footing kind of went out from underneath him. Otherwise, he had a chance to spin and run and get it in the end zone. This is quite an answer by the South Carolina offense, having been set up by that kick return. Deebo Samuel right up here at the top of your screen.
Bentley the other direction, and he's inside the 4 at the 3. Miles Hartfield makes a touchdown-saving tackle.
Well, Bentley wanted, he was looking for Deebo Samuel there. Got jammed a little bit, tucks and runs, and Hartfield comes up, makes a nice tackle. Almost Sanogo coming over there telling Bentley about it on that braced up knee.
Turner gets the edge to the goal line, touchdown. A.J. Turner with his first touchdown of the season puts the Gamecocks right back in it.
The speed of A.J. Turner to get over there, to capture the edge and make a dive for the pylon. And that is a physical finish to that run. You got Cedric Woods, and he's waiting on A.J. Turner. He's waiting on him right there at the pylon. And Turner muscles his way in there. Deebo Samuel with the return. Once again, Ole Miss kicking to Samuel, letting him get his hands on the return game. Cuts the field in half, and South Carolina able to answer.
Down double digits for the first time in the game, and it was quite the response. Parker White to make it a 3-point game. (44-41) Rebels lead with 11:01 to go.
Auburn battling back. Texas A&M You got to think, man, if they drop this one, now all of a sudden they're reeling late in the season. It's kind of reminiscent of what you used to see at A&M under Kevin Sumlin.
It's the most points ever combined in this series. As they meet today for the 16th time. And both quarterbacks have been outstanding. Bentley's thrown for 363. Ta'amu just 6 yards more.
Yeah, everybody's sitting there, you're talking about Ta'amu, who's largely been celebrated, and rightly so. Bentley has been much more up and down this season, but you can't ask much more out of either quarterback, frankly. And you throw in another 76 rushing yards for Ta'amu. It's been a big day.
And I get some of the critiques, I guess, when Jake wasn't playing well with the interceptions, but that ship has sailed. This guy has been terrific today. So is Elijah Moore, running all over the field. He's only going to get about a yard here on that borderline lateral throw.
That time, great job by Stephen Montag, who has been downhill most of today in diagnosing and getting underneath the blocks to get Elijah Moore on the ground, because we have seen number 8 for Ole Miss break tackles and pick up yards.
Ta'amu pressured, takes on tacklers instead of throwing it away, and Brunson puts him on the ground. Oh, he got dinged up too.
Yeah, he took a shot. It's on his non-throwing shoulder, but look at the coverage downfield. South Carolina locked up man, and there was nowhere to go with this football. Ta'amu, they end up giving the ball back here in a punt. Longo's going to say, you got to throw that football away. Don't take that shot along the sideline.
First South Carolina sack of the game. Third and 13. They'll just slide down, and that is a quick 3 and out for Ole Miss.
Ta'amu looks a little bit shaken up. He took a big shot from TJ Brunson, and then wisely slid down, but now he's kind of limping a little bit after that slide. You can see South Carolina, they were bringing pressure, and now that's the first 3 and out for Ole Miss. We saw one earlier for South Carolina. Ole Miss was able to immediately capitalize. The quarterback for Ole Miss, ever since that shot he took from Ingabare, he's been a little shaken up.
Brown with that rugby style kick. This is terrific. And it'll be marked out at the 27-yard line. Instead of throwing it away, as Stinch says, Ta'amu takes on TJ Brunson, and he loses that battle. Game
guys here on campus and in school at Ole Miss before the game.
Bentley under pressure, gets rid of it, and it's out of bounds, looking for Samuel. Second down, back to the studio in Dari.
All right, TZ and Stinch, going to keep an eye right now on what's going on. This is what's happening now on the Plains. Texas A&M with a 2nd and 10, no timeouts left, and it looks like a hold is going to be bringing them back a little further. Auburn hanging on. Let's listen in right now. Bob Wischusen and Brock Heward on the final seconds call here. Auburn.
Holding on the offense, number 54.
That's Carson Green, the right tackle there, beating on the inside rush, and all he can do is grab. And you're getting near desperation time now. And you can feel it, and this defensive line can sense it, and they can feel it, and they're teeing off, and these A&M fans, frankly, can't believe it.
Maybe time for 2 more snaps if you're A&M. Can you get yourself close enough to reach the end zone on the next pass? Mond again, extending the play. And he's just going to throw a jump ball as far as he possibly can. It's Igbenogany that's got the ball, but he's out of bounds. It goes to all zeros. And that'll do it.
And with that, Auburn has won 2 in a row. A&M has lost 2 in a row. 2 straight touchdowns to close it out for the Tigers, guys.
So Auburn wins in a thrilling finish on the Plains. Meanwhile, South Carolina with a quick 3 and out there, Stinch.
Jake Bentley a little bit under pressure, and that ball was underthrown over the middle. It resulted in an incomplete pass, and now another opportunity for the Ole Miss Rebel offense.
That's Moore making the catch at the 28-yard line and immediately tackled. So Ole Miss will start from there up 3. Tonight after Louisiana Tech, Mississippi State, the SEC Now team will recap all the games with highlights, analysis, interviews, and everything else. No one covers the SEC like we do. You can also see it streaming live on the ESPN app. Dari, Coach Chiswick, and Chris Doering all day long today, even playing a little red zone-like mode there, going from game to game. I know they'll be updating BAM LSU tonight. And we have another injury here. And that,
Nixon,
yeah, that is Nixon who made the tackle.
Another defensive back who made a great play in punt coverage after, as you mentioned, the quick possession. You know, initially it didn't seem like he was injured at all. It took 2 or 3 steps before he decided that he had some type of an injury after that tackle. Holding that left arm a little strangely, but no, he looks perfectly fine now. Left arm maybe slid in and out. Sometimes it'll sublux, slide in and out of the joint. Ta'amu remains on the sideline, and Matt Corral once again in at quarterback for Ole Miss.
Ta'amu took that big hit from T.J. Brunson that Stinch told you about on the last series. Not feeling strong enough to be on the field here, so the freshman from Ventura, California, who's been terrific this year, spelling Ta'amu, will float up. And that is way over his intended target, A.J. Brown. Rashad Fenton almost had his 4th interception, Chris.
Taylor Ta'amu has had his right ankle wrapped. He's out of the 10. He's been trying to run, seeing if he could put pressure on that right ankle, but not quite ready to go in yet.
No, and A.J. Brown on that throw from Corral. He's only got 1 catch here in the second half. It's been very quiet, really, for both number 1s for these offenses, and that pass well off the mark. Looked like they were on entirely different pages.
Phillips rides his blockers up to the 30. It'll be 3rd down. Suddenly these defenses have stiffened a bit.
You saw, as you mentioned, South Carolina, the quick possession comes right back. Ole Miss just recently, previous possession, 3 and out, first one of the game, and now a 3rd and long with your backup quarterback in the game versus a defense that can get pretty creative. As you see the Gamecocks standing up, only 2 down linemen that can confuse protection.
Incomplete, thrown behind Lodge, and no flag comes in. Corral had 1 incompletion on the season. He's 0 for 2 today.
Well, that time there was pressure up the middle. South Carolina able to get a rusher free right in Corral's face. That was thrown well behind DeMarcus Lodge. They largely let him play in the secondary here today.
Israel Mukuamu was the defensive back on that play, forced into duty after the injury to Nixon a moment ago. This is another punt for Brown, and Edwards with a fair catch at the 27-yard line. So 43-yard punt. South Carolina offense today, Jake Bentley has been terrific, but they've slowed down, sort of like the Rebels in the second half.
As you mentioned, both the defenses able to finally force some punts, some quick possessions. The passing yards in the first half, pretty explosive. A lot of those fueled by some downfield throws. They've tightened it up a bit here in the second half. Jake Bentley has felt the pressure a time or two. He had a pretty clean pocket through about 2.5 quarters. But at times here in the second half, you could tell he's felt the pressure a little bit as it's gotten to him a little bit to penetrate.
This is Denson's 9th carry. Burst of speed. Could go the distance. Denson down inside the 5. Zedrick Woods saves the touchdown, but Mon Denson hits the home run.
See Zedrick Woods trying to track him down after a great run from Mon Denson. Well, we got to say it again. Look, this is the 3rd or 4th string tailback for South Carolina. That's the longest run of the year.
Go right back to him. I wonder how much he's got left in the tank after a 70-yard run.
He's gassed. For sure he's gassed. Just a little bit surprised they didn't. They're probably trying to jump it, of course. It looks like Mon Denson's going to stay in there. A.J. Turner was able to get it in earlier on a run to the right side of the South Carolina front. The longest run prior to that was 30 yards all season. And Mon Denson rips off a 70-yarder in a 3-point game.
Bentley. Ooh, that was a dangerous pass that Samuel almost somehow made a one-handed catch on.
Deebo Samuel almost specializes in these. There was a lot of contact from C.J. Miller well before that ball got there. That ball wasn't tipped at the line of scrimmage.
He's had a couple of miraculous left-handed catches this year. He almost made another.
I'm a little surprised the flag did not come out on that play.
3rd down, Turner standing next to Bentley. Jake flushed out, dives, end zone, touchdown.
We talked about the passing numbers earlier for Jake Bentley. He has managed the pocket incredibly well in this game. And this time, nowhere to go with the football. Didn't like what he had in the end zone. But it was Mon Denson's run, an improbable one, because he was kind of the short yardage back when they had healthy tailbacks to work with that set up this scoring drive.
South Carolina with 14 unanswered points. Mon Denson with the run of the year, a 70-yarder. It set up Jake Bentley escaping on a 3rd down to give the Gamecocks the lead. Mizzou and Tennessee 2 years ago on Rocky Top had a shootout. Look at this today. Over 1,100 combined yards and 92 points in this one. South Carolina 48, Ole Miss 44. That guy has been a gamer today. Jake Bentley and the Gamecocks with the most recent touchdown. Ole Miss will get it at the 25-yard line. What a game in Oxford today with 4 lead changes. So I try my best to get up near 6'5".
I'll slouch.
Yes.
Kind of crouch down a little bit.
How about the fireworks in this one?
It's been unbelievable. I mean, it's a beautiful day for football, for offensive football, because defensively, neither one of these coaches are going to be entirely thrilled. Both quarterbacks, they came out swinging, and the scoring started early. We've talked about it with the kickoff return from Deebo Samuel. It really has only lulled a couple of different times. Otherwise, it has been an offensive showcase.
With all a rash of injuries today, including the guy that's back in at quarterback, Jordan Ta'amu, after taking the last drive off. This is Phillips around the end, Chris.
And Matt Luke, about as positive of a coach as you'll find in these situations. Before Ta'amu ran out, he looked at him and goes, "We got this. This is easy."
Simple as that. And Ta'amu took a big hit from T.J. Brunson 2 series ago. Corral unable to move the chains on the last drive. So back to Ta'amu, although he's handing to Phillips, and Phillips, it gives the Rebels a fresh set of downs.
A couple nice runs. And Scotty Phillips, you know, he shows up in spots for this offense. He isn't the centerpiece, but boy, does he take advantage of his opportunities. And in a ball game, a 1-possession game at that, a touchdown puts you ahead. Makes sense to see a lot of runs.
Ta'amu has nowhere to go. Javon Kinlaw with the sack.
They're trying to run play action. And on a back block from Sean Rawlings, who's had his hands full all game long with Javon Kinlaw. They were worried about this. They knew that Kinlaw is a big, long defensive lineman at 6'6", uses his arms well, still kind of raw, but does a great job of shedding blocks and got a big negative yardage play there.
Lodge with Montag holding on, third down.
All game long, South Carolina has done a really good job in their open field tackling, especially in the horizontal passing game. Stephen Montag has had a game when it comes to coming up there and blowing up some of these wide receiver screens. And you have to wonder, the earlier possession, Matt Corral tried to get the ball to A.J. Brown. He's got one catch here in the second half. He's down here at the bottom of your screen. He's only been targeted one other time.
Sprinting out and can't get rid of it. Sacked by Brunson.
So here's Brunson playing outside the tackle box, and as soon as the sprint out comes, he does a great job of playing upfield right away.
We weren't sure if Mac Brown was at the game. Now he's punted on 3 consecutive possessions. And South Carolina, with a couple of first downs, can put the game away. They were down 10 a few minutes ago, and now up 4 with 3:20 left in the game. Coming up next, more college football. Week 10, Missouri and number 11 Florida at the Swamp for Eastern. Then it's Louisiana Tech with number 18 Mississippi State at 7:30 in our SEC Saturday night matchup presented by Holiday Inn Express. Over on the alternate channel, it's Charlotte and Tennessee at 4 Eastern. To find that channel, go to secnetwork.com/channel, and all games, of course, are streaming live on the ESPN app. How can Ole Miss and their defense get off the field here and give their offense another shot?
Well, we saw earlier where they were able to force a 3 and out. What's been the difference is South Carolina's been able to establish some of that rushing. Didn't take much. Certainly the South Carolina defense has stepped up. They've only allowed 164 yards here in the second half to the Ole Miss offense.
He's to the ground, and Denson, fresh off that 70-yard carry on the last drive.
As you mentioned, after that 70-yard carry, they went right back to him real quickly. Ended up taking a Jake Bentley scramble to get into the end zone. 34 being pressed into service. We talked about it earlier. As you see Bobby Bentley, Jake Bentley's dad, the running backs coach, he's giving Mon Denson some coaching. Earlier on the season, Denson only saw some short yardage looks, didn't demonstrate the greatest vision in the world. But he's ripped off a big run, and it's been the difference in the game.
Back to our friend Dari Unoka in the studio.
Yeah, TZ, what to watch for, brought to you by Timberland. Our second game of the day on the SEC Network, Demaria Crockett and Missouri looking for their first conference win, but that was the story a year ago, too, when they hosted Florida and beat them by 29. LaMichael Pirine and the Gators trying to bounce back from the loss to Georgia. Missouri, Florida from the Swamp coming up, top of the hour, guys.
I know that you'll be watching Kentucky and Georgia as well, Dari, keeping everyone updated on that. Denson with a career high today in rushing yards. He goes over 100 with that run there. He had 61. That was his career high last year against Tennessee. And he's forced into action due to Tyson Williams and Rico Dowdle leaving the game, and look what he does.
You know, that was one of the things that Wesley McGriff said was a must. They have about 5 each week defensively. One of those was no 100-yard rusher. That was one of the indicators that they've seen for success for South Carolina. Now, albeit the bulk of Denson's yardage generated on that one carry, the 70-yarder, regardless, you can see why that was one of the areas that they wanted to emphasize, knowing that if South Carolina is able to get that, and of course the kind of day that they've gotten out of Jake Bentley, the offensive output has been pretty staggering for both of these teams, but certainly for South Carolina in this game.
So Matt Luke uses 2 of his timeouts there. He's down to 1 left, banking on his Landshart D to get off the field on a 3rd and 4.
Ole Miss looked like they were showing pressure. They both looked to the sideline to check to a different play. See if Ole Miss brings pressure again.
They do. And Bentley goes down. Mohamed Sanogo. Land sharp.
So you see Sanogo, and he's going to loop right here inside. He and Willie Hibbler both. So you overwhelm the protection inside. They don't swap it off at left guard. And Sanogo gets a free run at Jake Bentley. And you know, when they had that false snap a second ago, one of the reasons why you do that offensively is to see if the defense will undress. Well, they show you what they were about to do. Ole Miss was showing pressure. They looked at the sideline. Wesley McGriff kept that pressure on, and they were able to get home in a key moment.
Charlton will punt it to Elijah Moore as the clock runs out with 2:25 left.
Delay of game, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
Charlton has the best punting average in South Carolina history. He'll need a good one here. He punts it to Elijah Moore, who stands at his 20-yard line. Moore with a career day, 11 catches. See if he can do something in the return game too, as the Rebels trail by 4 with 2:25 to go. Puts it on the run. Tackle made there, shy of the 30-yard line by Nixon. Let's take a look at our 5-star play of the day, brought to you by Yellowwood. Ryan Edwards with an all-world catch and a 75-yard touchdown.
Not to be outdone by his teammate Deebo Samuel, who's put together a couple of nice one-handed touchdown catches. But I think this was the best one by far that I've seen this year. Reaching around the defensive back, making the catch with one hand, and then finishing that run as he's chased into the end zone.
To the ground, Phillips. 32-yard line. Daniel Fennell with the tackle. Clock runs. Ole Miss fans probably not too concerned about the time and how many timeouts are left. They're concerned with Ta'amu's health here after getting banged up and leaving the game 2 different times. 2nd and 7. And that ball is caught up at the 42-yard line by Lodge. 1st down.
They've been watching closely all season. Only Alabama has more touchdown drives under a minute. This can be a quick strike offense. The question is, how healthy are you at your trigger man spot with Jordan Ta'amu in the game?
They'll take off. Out of bounds near midfield.
And he was quick to decide to run with that football. That's an indicator to me that he feels all right. He certainly feels comfortable enough to tuck and run. He easily could have thrown it away if his health is compromised. You know, in some ways, you breathe a sigh of relief if you're on that Ole Miss sideline to see your quarterback tuck and pick up positive yards.
Incomplete over Lodge's head. 3rd and 4.
Had one-on-one matchup at the bottom of the formation as well, trying to find DeMarcus Lodge with another shot downfield. You miss it after the QB scramble, and now another big 3rd down, and can't emphasize it enough. They tried to get it to A.J. Brown earlier, hadn't seen it, other than the one catch where he's largely been neutralized opposite Rashad Fenton.
Very quiet for one of the best in the game.
Here he is down here, matched up with Fenton.
Ta'amu looking over at Phil Longo, the offensive coordinator. This is intended for Brown, incomplete. Lucky to have that one back as Fenton, the defensive back, had the best play on the ball.
And he wanted A.J. Brown the whole way here, and he never came off it. Had a matchup you had to like. Your best receiver, man coverage, big physical body, and Rashad Fenton is all over it.
2 routes run in the same area, too.
It was crowded. You wonder if underneath the inside route was the correct one.
4th and 4, game on the line. Incomplete. Looking for Floyd Allen. Keyshawn Nixon forces the incompletion. South Carolina takes over.
Ta'amu again working to his left, A.J. Brown's side. I mean, zipped it right over the umpire's head. Would have been a really tough catch regardless. You see how that ball just skims right over the umpire's cap. Well, all game long, people are going to watch some of these throws here late. These officials, they set the precedent. They were going to let these guys play. There's been some contact. There's no doubt about it. Maybe a hand around the waist that time even. Floyd Allen couldn't get it. South Carolina in an offensive explosion. You see Jake Bentley just trying to bleed as much clock as possible. Able to claw their way to 48 points in this game.
There's their remaining schedule. You see the last game that was officially added yesterday. That'll be here on SEC Network on the alternate channel on December the 1st. Go to Gainesville next week, host the Mocs on what was expected to be Senior Day 2 Saturdays from now. Down to Clemson at the end of November. But South Carolina, with their 5th win today, a win away from bowl eligibility once again for Will Muschamp. What a gritty performance by his team from the outset. Samuel with the 90-yard kick return for a touchdown. Almost, Ole Miss's offense virtually unstoppable most of the game, down 10 in the second half, and finding a way to win.
You see even last year, you know, it's the incremental improvement. It's going to be tough to beat out 9 wins, but this was a gateway win for South Carolina. There's no doubt. They pick up that Akron game on the back end of the season. Will they eclipse 9? Probably not. Not this season. But especially here today, I mean, it was a skeleton crew. They had all kinds of injuries, losing offensive linemen, running backs. The idea that it was a long rush, the longest of the season, in fact, that would set up the go-ahead score is as improbable of anything we've seen this year, given the injuries that they've seen at that position.
Defense in the second half helped win this football game. 13th time in the last 14 meetings it's been decided by a touchdown or less in this series. 2 will not play again for 7 years. Another Gamecock win.
Well, we could talk about Mon Denson. Can't say enough about Deebo Samuel. He didn't show up very big in the offensive box score, but the return game for a touchdown and to cut the field in half